evening, everybody, and welcome to F1 Tonight UK. We are here in Baku in Azerbaijan. So without, any more delay, let's quickly break in and have a look where we actually stand with the drivers themselves. Oh, hang on. Let's do that again. There we go. Okay, so Drivers' Championship as it stands at this moment in time. Well, staying at the top is Dylan Platt. He's now on 55 points. Then in second place we have up to Callum White. He's on 45. In third place we have Phil Harris. Yes, indeed, he is up 2 places. He's on 44 points. Then we have in fourth place Tom Stevens. He's actually down 2. Didn't finish the race last week, so he stays on 36 points. In fifth place we have Sean Gregory. He's down to 3. In sixth we have Gary McKenney. He's up 2 from 8. In 7 we have Ryan Lear. He's up 3 from 10. Then in 8 we have Ross Milburn. And he has come straight in with 10 points on his first race. 10 points I've got here. 12 points for Toro Rosso. So great run for him. Then we have Tony Foster in the Ferrari. He's in 9th place. In 10, we have Josh Diggles for Haas. 11, Daniel Burt for Haas. 12, Jake Sorrell, new driver, scores points there for Ferrari, puts him in 12th place. Then we have Thomas Cook for Red Bull, he had 2 points. Adrian Rich for Red Bull with 2 points. 15 is Tom Johnson. 17, we have the new driver of Jordan Marshall and his teammate Cameron Widdowson is in 18. New driver for Racing Point, although he won't be actually participating with us this evening. That's Jamie Good, but he will be joining us next week in Spain. And then we have the 2 remaining seats, 1 Williams, 1 Racing Point, which is yet to be assigned. But I have been assured by our recruiter that we will have those places filled for next week in Spain. And joining me in the commentary box is Jonathan Donkall, F1 Tonight chairman, CEO and driver for F1 Tonight NL. Good evening, Jonathan.
Hi, good evening.
How are you tonight, my friend?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
Really excited to be here.
Yeah, well, it's a great one, certainly, to be co-commentating. Just to let those people out there know who aren't aware, Nicky Visser, who is F1 Tonight and currently leading the NL Championship, is normally co-commentating himself. He's not able to make it this evening, so Jonathan has kindly offered to jump in and assist me with a bit of the co-commentary. So just having a look at that Drivers' Championship, seeing quite a bit of movement. Dylan Platt, obviously, already 10 points ahead. Tom Stevens, still in that top 5, but in 4th place. But there's been quite a bit of movement, and it's quite close, certainly, I would say, for those top 3, but very close as well in that midfield, isn't it, Jonathan?
Yeah, definitely. What you can see is that actually the top 4 is quite close to each other. Behind them, it will be the 5th place until P15 with 2 points. Yeah, they're also very close behind. But still, yeah, there are good races amongst them who can also challenge for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be very interesting to see how that pans out here. Let's have a quick look now at the actual Constructors' Championship. So, Constructors' Championship leading the way. We have Mercedes on 81 points. In second place is Alfa Romeo on 71 points. Third is Rocket Williams on 44. Fourth is Toro Rosso on 41. Fifth is McLaren on 34. 6, Ferrari 15. 7 are Haas. 8, Red Bull. 9, Renault. And 10, Racing Point. Both those teams still to score. Again, having a look at the Constructors' Championship, you can see, obviously, the Drivers' Championship quite rightly reflected in that. But it's really close, isn't it, between those top two at the moment? Only 10 points separating Mercedes and Alfa Romeo. Jonathan? Hello? Jonathan, are you there? Oh, okay. Jonathan doesn't seem to be with us at this moment in time, although I am sure he will be with us very shortly indeed. But we can see very close indeed between Mercedes and Alfa Romeo. But also, if we look at that third, fourth and fifth, really nothing in it. Only 7 points separating McLaren and Toro Rosso and 3 points separating Williams and Toro Rosso. So you can see real tight fight here. And again, we can see that reflected with Ferrari and Haas in 6th and 7th respectively, 15 and 12 points, and again very little between those. Hopefully we're looking to see some more obviously from the Red Bull guys this evening, and certainly from the Renault as they have that full team of Jordan Marshall and Cameron Widdowson, so it'll be good to see how they actually compete this evening. Now let's have a look at the track itself, and there we have the Baku City Circuit and 20 corners. 3 sectors. So let's have a quick look at those sectors in a minute. And you can see circuit length is 3.73 miles. Race length is 190.17 miles. And we're looking at 51 laps. So sector 1 takes us from the start-finish line up to just before turn 7 as they approach the castle section. Sector 2 takes us round the castle section and finishes just before turn 16. And then the final sector 3 takes us from just before turn 16 to the start-finish line. Quite a complicated track. It's got 3 very different sectors. As you can see, a lot of right-angle turns, certainly in the first sector. That's basically what it comprises of, apart from that little chicane of 5-6. Then we've got the tricky castle section, building up, obviously, on speed once you get out of turn 12. And then when you get to 16, down to straight, it's basically all out, really. Flat out, I would say, with regards to that. Jonathan, are you there now, or have you still not appeared? No, okay, well, Jonathan not there at this moment in time. So let's have a look at the corners. So turn 1, as I say, it's a tricky turn because you're coming down off that DRS straight, you're carrying a lot of speed. And if we have a look at this here, you can see that the angle of attack into that corner is very important. You've got to hit that apex on the left-hand side, but watch as you're coming out because that right-hand side comes in very quickly indeed. So you have to be aware of that tricky turn, especially on the start of the race when you've got all the cars coming down that straight to that corner. We're then going to left-hander turn 2, and that's where we have the first DRS. DRS activation or detection point is just before turn 2, and that activates after turn 2, bringing you down towards turn 3. We then come round the rest of this sector, hard left from turn 3. Got to watch the approach and certainly the exit on there because you'll be right over on the right-hand side. Come down to turn 4, again, very tricky. Watch your exit as you're close in on the left-hand side. And then you've got the chicane of 5-6. Got to watch the exit on that one as well because you can easily hit the barrier on the left-hand side. Then come down to sector 2. That's the castle section. So you've got a hard right there of turn 7. And then you see turns 8, 9, 10, 11. You can't see exactly how those turns are. So let's give you a little picture of looking up those turns. And that's from turn 8, looking up 9, 10 and turn 11 just behind that tower there. So really tricky indeed, low speed turns. Round the left-hander of 12, building up speed, going around 13, 14, again building up speed. You've got the hard downhill left of turn 15. Got to watch it on the approach and the exit on that. Don't go into the barrier left-hand side. Easily done. Then we come into the final and third sector, 16, 17, building up speed, round 18, 19. That's very high speed corners, both those there. Then you come down to 20 and you have the DRS detection point for that second DRS just before turn 20. And that activates just before the start or a bit before the pit lane entrance past the start-finish line. And that is our track. So you can see, technically, quite a difficult track. 3 very different sectors. It is a city track, a city circuit. So not a lot of runoffs. Certainly only runoffs really is turn 1, 2 and 3. And a little bit on turn 16. So watch for that. Okay, so we are now going to switch across to the actual race itself. So let's just do that now, and we'll be back with you in just 2 seconds while we get that ready for you. Okay, everybody, so we are back here. Apologies for that slight delay in getting into the Q1 session. However, we experienced a little bit of communication problems. Unfortunately, Jonathan's Xbox decided to crash, so that obviously put paid to our communication. So he'll have that up and running shortly. In the meantime, though, let's have a look at what the guys are actually doing on track. So let's get some data up here. Okay, so let's run through our runners and riders. We have Tom Stevens with us this evening from Mercedes, Jake Sorrell, second race in the Ferrari. Then we have Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso, Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo, Ryan Lear, his teammate, currently in the pits. Then we have Phil Harris doing so well in that Rocket Williams at this moment in time, Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. Then we have Cameron Widdowson, new driver for Renault, currently in the pits. Tom Johnson for McLaren, new driver as well, out on track. Tony Foster for Ferrari in the pits. Daniel Burt for Haas. Then we have Sean Gregory in that second Toro Rosso. Jordan Marshall, looks like in the Renault has disqualified, so I'm not too sure what's happened there. Obviously couldn't catch that. Callum White, as we can see there. So we have 15 drivers with us this evening. Q1 session normally would be with 20 drivers going down to 15. Obviously, in this instance, that hasn't happened, or rather did not occur. So we will catch up with them shortly with regards to that. But some of the drivers will go out, others will not, just to get a feel for the actual track themselves. So I'm just going to see if I can get Jonathan back, so bear with me 1 second, and let's see if I can get you out with somebody on track, give you an idea of what they're going to be doing. Okay, so I am now joined in the commentary box by Jonathan. And Jonathan, just going back, obviously, while the guys sort of have a quick run round, as I was explaining to our viewers, we have 15 drivers in with us at this moment in time. Obviously, normally in Q1, there'd be 20 drivers going down to 15. So I guess the guys really just treating this as a little bit of a practice run, really, aren't they?
Yeah, this is also exactly what we do in the Dutch league. When we only have 15 drivers, we use the first qualifying session to use actually more as a practice session.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we're seeing the guys do now at this moment in time. Tom Stevens, unsurprisingly, setting the fastest lap so far on those softs of 1:38.503. But Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari, only 6/10 off him. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's not bad either. Even Dylan Platt, 4th place with the harder compound tire, is doing quite well actually.
Yeah, I mean he's done a 1:40.3. That's actually only a couple of seconds off, well less than that, off Tom Stevens' time, and that's on a tyre that is considerably harder, isn't it? That hard compound tyre as opposed to the soft. So that's a very good run there from Dylan Platt.
Yeah, definitely. I think there should be 1.2 or 1.3 seconds in between them, in between the compounds.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's very interesting to see how that pans out, and interesting that we're looking at one of the drivers already using that hard compound tyre in this sort of effectively test session of Q1. That's going to make it interesting, certainly for the Q2. And see what happens with regards to that. As I was discussing, obviously you missed it with regards to the track. 3 sectors here at Baku, but all 3 sectors very, very different. That first sector, a lot of a lot of 90-degree corners. Middle sector through the castle, the old town, and then building up speed. And then that final sector, very much high speed final sector. It is 3 very different sectors here at this track, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, especially the first sector where there are much left 90 degrees corners. A lot of hard braking you have to do when you're coming from 340, 350, sometimes 360 kilometers an hour. Yeah, it's very difficult track to drive yourself.
And a track where it's not unsurprising to see drivers DNFing as well.
Oh, that's one thing for sure. We don't know where that's coming from, but this track and F1 tonight, it does just not mix.
Well, we'll see if that will be the case tonight with the UK boys. I don't think it's going to be too different. And we can see that they're already coming to the end of that Q1 session. So I'm sure we'll be getting underway with Q2. Now, in Q2, we have the 15 drivers, and the top 10 drivers will go through to the final Q or qualification round. That's Q3, where they'll decide their grid positions 1 to 10. The remaining drivers 11 to 15 will then assume their respective times on the grid depending upon the time that they set in that second Q. Just a little reminder for you that once the guys go into Q2, the top 10 finishers, whatever tyre they set their fastest lap on, will be the tyre that they will be starting the race on. So very often you can get some sort of idea of what the potential strategy is for the driver by the tyre they select and indeed that they qualify on. The remaining guys that will be starting in grid position 11 to 15 will have a free choice of tyre, so they'll be able to effectively go on whatever they want. Just have a quick look here, see if I can establish, because we were working on the premise that we were actually going to have 16 drivers this evening. I know that we do have a driver missing, and I know that at some point this evening I did receive information with regards to that. However, I can't say at this moment in time who that is, but we'll check on that in just a few minutes. The drivers now obviously getting ready for that Q2 session, and it's a hard race, this, isn't it, Nicky? I mean, it's 51 laps, but it is, I mean, obviously you have to concentrate on every track, but this one, it takes a higher degree of concentration, and it is, I would suspect, probably one of the more tiring races during the calendar.
Oh yeah, well, first of all, you're still talking to John and not Nicky, but
Sorry,
never
Nick,
mind.
sorry, John. Oh dear, you'll have to excuse me. I'm so used to talking to Nicky that I just totally switched off there, John. I do apologise.
Never mind. But yeah, for sure, it is definitely a hard track to keep you focused on at a high level indeed. You have to be aware of all these corners that are following up each other quite close, and you only have sector 3 to put on some kind of rest and stretch your legs a little bit when you're on the main straight.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see some of the drivers coming out now, and it looks like Ryan Leah is leading the way. So let's go on board with him on his opening lap and see how he does on his first timed lap. Okay, so apologies for the quiet there. I had to say goodnight to my son. He just come in, and so saying quick goodnight to him. And we are now on track, 13 minutes remaining. And Ryan Leah leading out the way on his out lap. And Ryan going for the medium compound tyres. Interestingly, Dylan going for the hard compound tyres, as has Tom Stevens in the Mercedes.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Tom Stevens has the pace to manage this, but yeah, it could be a close gamble.
Yeah, I think it certainly could be. We'll see how that pans out for him. Ryan Leah now coming down towards turn 16. And actually, I think I'm going to go on board with Dylan Platt for his fast lap, because I'm curious to see how that is actually going to perform. So let's go on board now with Dylan Platt in that Alfa Romeo as he comes in getting ready to do his fast lap. We'll follow him around the track. Oh no, he doesn't come in for his fast lap, he's actually got into the pits. Okay, that's not a problem. Let's see who is on a fast lap then. So let's go to his teammate. Ryan Leah. So Ryan Leah just come out of turn 2. He's got that DRS coming down to turn 3. Tricky, hard left turn here. You've got to watch your exit on that right-hand side. Very easy to go into that barrier. Coming down to turn 4 now. Hard right over to the left-hand side. Watch your exit again. Now you're getting yourself lined up for that 5-6 chicane. Fairly straightforward 5. Got to watch your exit on 6, not to go too far to the left and get into those barriers. Now coming down towards the end into sector 2, turn 7, hard right there, easy to miss. Getting now ready to come up that uphill section, turn 8, 9, 10, 11, he hit the barrier there on the right hand side. So I don't know if he's still going, but it's not ideal, is it? I think he's going to have to scrub this one, isn't he, Nick?
Yeah, I think this
John,
is the end of this way. Yeah, I think this won't be his lap to continue into qualifying 1.
Now, let's go with Tom Stevens in that case then. And Tom Stevens just coming down now towards turn 15. Good entry into that. Now down to 16. Remember, he's on the hard compound tyre. Nobody as yet has actually set a qualifying lap. I've got to say, he's looking good. Good time as well.
He's keeping it flat out.
I think we could see a 138, 139. Well, 140.1. But that is a very respectable time, I've got to say, on that hard compound tyre.
Yeah, you can see Phil Harris in the Williams right in front of him is only just a second faster on a softer compound.
Phil Harris indeed sets a 138.2, but that's on the soft compound tyre. That's actually 2 steps away. So you've got the hard, which is the hardest compound tyre, the medium, which is the yellow wall, and then the red wall, which is the soft. So yeah, I mean, that's what, just 1.9 seconds between them. 2 compounds of tyres. That's quite impressive, but a great run there from Phil Harris, certainly getting into the 138.2s.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm very anxious to see what Tony Foster can do on this soft compound. Also a Ferrari driver like myself, so yeah.
Yeah, and in fact we're on board with his teammate Jake Sorrell. He's currently provisional P3 with a 140.5, and that's on the medium compound tyre. So that's an interesting run from him there. Jake Sorrell sets 3rd fastest time. New driver, started last week with us, and got to say, impressed with him last week. And so far looking pretty good on this qualification as well.
Yeah, definitely. If I remember correctly, he was in his first race even driver of the day, if I remember right.
No, he didn't get driver of the day. Not last week. I think that was actually our new Toro Rosso driver, and that was Ross Milburn.
Ross Milburn.
Who did a fantastic run last week, I've got to say, really did, and got some excellent points obviously for his team, picked up 12 points, so great run from him. So there we have at this moment in time, these are the boys. We are with Jake Sorrell, but let's have a quick look down here. Still in 3rd, Tony Foster, indeed in that Ferrari. Good run from Tony Foster, gets up into that provisional P4 place. So Ferrari at this moment in time looking quite strong. 140.5 he's done on the soft compound tyres. So good run there from him. Then we have the Renault driver of Cameron Widdowson. He's in the pits, but he's gone out and set a 140.5 on those soft compound tyres. Then we have Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. He's gone out on the medium, set a 141.0. Then the new driver for McLaren, Tom Johnson, sets a 141.0. Ross Milburn still in the pits. Ryan Lear is back out on track, and he's just coming to the end of his out lap. So I think what we'll look to do is join him on his fast lap. Hasn't yet set a time, and his teammate Dylan Platt went out on the mediums. I think Dylan decided to change, went onto the mediums and set a 140.6. So Ryan into turn 1, good entrance exit into there, comes down into turn 2, and it's all about hitting those apexes here at Baku, isn't it? It's you know, a lot of tracks well, I mean, hitting the apex is the ultimate obviously in any corner, but there are some corners where it's not necessarily the apex you want to hit.
But I can see some raindrops getting down.
Yeah, it does look
so this
rather grey.
Yeah, it is raining.
Okay, so
this could be quite tense, especially for Ryan Lear and Sean Gregory. Sean White, who also had not set a time just yet. Ross Milburn also did not just have to set a time.
Well, the rain is quite weak at this moment in time, so it shouldn't affect this run from Ryan Lear here. However, if he doesn't set a time now, it could be problematic for him, so he's going to have to really concentrate on finishing this lap to ensure that he gets the best possible time he can. We've got a yellow flag. Yeah,
Dylan Platt has gone off. He has lost his front right wing.
Okay, so Dylan Platt already damaged there as his teammate Ryan Lear into 16, round 17. Final corners now into 18. 19, he's got to watch, he's got it lined up now. I think this is safe for him, but he's really got to lay the power down. But he's not going to be setting any blinding sort of time that I can see. It's probably going to be around about a 140, 141, I'd suspect. Yeah, 141.7, and I think he's going to be disappointed with that, Ryan Lear. But what can you do? Conditions have changed, and this is detrimental to those guys that haven't set the times yet. Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso there, Sean Gregory, his teammate, Callum White in the Mercedes, and Jordan Marshall as disqualified. I don't know what happened there, but he's gone out, so he will be starting in P13. So Jordan Marshall will be starting P13. Also, I noticed a couple of the drivers not in the session here, so we should have 15 drivers, and we've only got 13, so maybe they had some sort of connection issues. Not too sure at this moment in time. undoubtedly race control will inform us, and then we can get a clearer picture with regards to that.
Yeah, I'm looking into this, and if you can see what is going on with these drivers. What we actually know is that the new driver who's signed up to do this race is not able to join this moment in time.
Okay, so we're having some connection issues. Connection issues have been somewhat common in this 2019, haven't they, Jona?
Yeah, fortunately they are. We in the Dutch league also have very much trouble with them. It's not as stable as we like to see it. Or what I can see now is everybody leaving. Yeah, but we hope to get it. Yeah, that co-masters can do something about this, because yeah, it also plays in hand with our driving styles. Yeah, with getting occupied with this.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's nothing more frustrating for a driver than when he's all keyed up, ready for a race, and then he's got technical issues. I mean, we could say that it's somewhat mirrored, obviously, in real-world F1, because, you know, cars do have technical issues. This is our, if you like, sim version of those car technical issues, the connectivity issues, and indeed, I hope that Codemasters do get it sorted out soon, because it is something that has been common throughout this season. And obviously we are now 4 months into the 2019 version, so hopefully somebody is listening, and hopefully that is something that they are looking to address. We are on board with Tom Stevens at this moment in time. He has set the second fastest qualifying time. He's actually now out on a set of medium tyres, but no, coming into the pits, not worth going too much further on those. And indeed, Cameron Widdowson, the new Renault driver, is out on track. He is on a set of soft tyres. So, okay, interesting. Let's see how that pans out for him, because obviously grip is going to be an issue, and you can see he's just easing off there, round 13 and 14. Really, he's throttling back there, isn't he,
Yeah,
Jona?
yeah, you can see very good in particularly this session, this part of the track. If he goes flat out, the grip is still okay, and looks like he's backing off. He's not going flat out.
He's definitely feathering that accelerator pedal there, and taking it gingerly. But that's what you need to do, isn't it? Under wet conditions, obviously you haven't got the same level of grip, so you've got to manage that grip effectively on your throttle, really, haven't you?
Yeah, definitely. These cars have a lot of traction, so it's easy to yeah, just burn your tires, not having able to find grip in these particular conditions.
Well, we've got just under 2 minutes remaining. All the drivers currently in the pits, and I've got to be honest with you, probably not much reason for them to come out. So in the drop zone at this moment in time, we have Sean Gregory for Toro Rosso, Callum White for Mercedes, who didn't get to set a qualifying time, and as I said there, the Jordan Marshall in the Renault has disqualified. So Jordan Marshall will be starting 13, Callum White will be starting in row 6, P12. Alongside him in P11 will be Sean Gregory in the Toro Rosso. Remaining 10 drivers will go through. I don't think we're looking at any sort of restart on this session, so that will be how we will be progressing. Interesting lineup there, obviously. Jona, do you know, have we got these wet conditions going into Q3 as well? Okay, Jona obviously just checking on what the situation is at this moment in time, and I'm sure he'll get back to us with regards to that. I'd like to, at this point, obviously, to have a little think and see who I actually think will be in that P1 position for the Q3 session, and I've got to say, it's a bit of a tough call. All those top 3 drivers looking very good. If Callum White was in it, I'd probably be putting him in the running as well, but he's actually out, so he'll be starting in that row 6 P12 position.
Yeah, I'm back there.
I've got to say, I'm just looking at these times, Jona, and saying, you know, normally we would look to select who's going to be the fastest, or who's going to set that P1 position in Q3, but it's going to be quite tight. I've got a sneaking suspicion that we could see Phil Harris. So I'm going to go with Phil Harris for Q3 and taking that pole position.
I'm still going with Tom Stevens.
I had a sneaky suspicion you might.
I just had a talk with race control, and they've confirmed a lot of drivers have connectivity issues. So we'll getting a heads up within the next couple of minutes if they will restart the lobby again.
Okay, so we could be looking at a situation of a new lobby starting. If that is the case, will they run Q2 session again, or they'll just run with it as it is?
No, they'll skip Q1 and just start immediately with Q2. Yeah, there are only 2 drivers now who have connectivity issues, so I have to... I'm not sure what they'll do with Q2, or they'll just drive Q1.
Okay, so we'll play that one by ear. It could be that we might be starting with the Q2 session, or we might be starting with the Q3 session, or we might just simply be progressing as we are at this moment in time. So we'll give them a little bit of time to get that sorted out. Now, Callum obviously didn't get to set a time. He's now going to be starting, if they don't run the session again, he's going to be starting in that P12 position. That's going to be an interesting one for him, starting at the back, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. I just had confirmation. They will be running Q3 now, and after that they will restart the lobby and start with the race immediately. Okay,
so as you heard there from Jona, Q3 session will be run with these 10 guys that we have here. It is a wet session, and as you can see there, they are all on those intermediate tyres. So that's going to be very interesting indeed to see how that pans out. And immediately we can see the Alfa Romeo, and it looks like it's Dylan Platt coming out. So Dylan Platt, first man out onto the track.
Yeah, very curious what he can do under these conditions. If I'm correct, it is the first time for the entire UK division to drive in wet conditions for F1.
Yeah, I think it certainly is, certainly from a qualifying point of view. I think we, if I remember rightly, there was rain in China.
Oh yeah, could be also.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was. I can't be certain, but I'm pretty sure there was. One has so many there. But yeah, Dylan actually letting Cameron Widdowson past him. So Cameron Widdowson is now assuming that lead on the outlap. So we will undoubtedly run on board with him as he goes round. I've obviously given Phil Harris a shout for P1. Jona has decided to go with Tom Stevens. Of course, we could both of us very easily be wrong, because we haven't actually seen either of these guys, or indeed any of these guys, qualify in these damp conditions. It's not full wet conditions, it is intermediate, but we haven't seen that before. So it'll be interesting to see who can actually deliver under these conditions.
Yeah, I have to be honest for myself. I really love these conditions to drive in, because yeah, you can make some real big difference by your own. You can see some top front runners who can easily being catched up by some drivers who normally further up the back, just just because of these conditions. Yeah, it's definitely going to change things up.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I think Ryan Leah is in the back there. Callum Widdowson does have another car ahead of him, but he is now coming through to start his fast lap. So let's go on board with him. So into turn 1, very easy there. You can see the car sliding as he's coming round into round. Oh, and he loses it, goes down the escape road there. Didn't have enough, and you know, wise thing to do, go down the escape road, don't put your car into that barrier.
Yeah, definitely. It is a decision you have to make very quickly in a split second. So yeah, it's yeah, for sure it's a good one to make here.
Absolutely, and we are now back on board with Ryan Leah, who is indeed on his fast lap, coming down into turn 3. And you can see the guy's not using anywhere near the same sort of nearly losing it round 4 there. But traction is definitely a problem. The guys here obviously have their setups undoubtedly set for dry conditions. And you can see this car sliding around. If we go off into broadcast view and let's just watch him round these corners, he's taking it very slow indeed in the approach into these corners.
Yeah, definitely. But also I do have to... I think it's just getting drier actually. I'm not
I think the rain has eased off.
Yeah, I think these conditions, they are damp, but it will dry up, and maybe in the last couple of minutes in these conditions we'll can see sometimes setting on the slicks.
Well, I was about to say I was expecting drivers already to go on slicks, and indeed Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo is already on his outlap, and he's on a set of softs, as is Jake Sorrell, just started. Phil Harris also ready on a set of softs, as is Tom Stevens and Tom Johnson as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they are already have the advantage of these tires, of course. So they will be setting. If I'm correct, they will be setting down some fast times compared to the intermediate runners.
Yeah, I was about to say I suspect that Ryan was going to come into the pits, and indeed he has. So let's go actually with Dylan Platt. He's going to be the first man on those soft compound tyres. He comes round 15 to set a lap, and indeed the conditions have now dried. I can't see any drops of rain at all, so now is the time to go. Now this is interesting because we've only got just under 7 minutes remaining of this session. Obviously the track hasn't really had too much rubber laid down on it at this moment in time, so we shouldn't really be seeing ultra fast times. I don't think we're going to see anybody breaking that I don't think we're going to see anybody breaking that 140 actually. I probably would, or 139 certainly. I don't think we're going to see any 138s in this session. Could be easily wrong, but I don't believe so.
Yeah, maybe just in the last couple of minutes when the most drivers already have been setting out some times, and there is some rubber laid down. Of course, it's all washed away just now by the rain, but yeah, we just have to wait and see.
Indeed, time will tell. And you can certainly see that the attack speeds now very different to those that they were running with under those damp conditions.
Yeah, you can see they're definitely backing up still. Yeah, you can see also the track is drying out quite well. So yeah, I hope they're getting back on the action and getting back on his speed quite soon again.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to see a fantastically fast lap from Dylan. He's not out sector 2 yet. He's already on 1 minute 10. But that said, obviously he is coming into sector 3 now, the fastest part of the track. Let's watch him into 17 now. 18, 19. It's going to be probably around about a 142. Slower than that, actually.
Maybe just, yeah. I think they
143. 143.6 there from Dylan Platt, so fastest time so far. I would expect that to come down. Tony Foster set to 154.8. Adrian Rich on his outlap. Let's have a look. Jake Sorrell is coming round now. So Jake Sorrell, new driver in the Ferrari. Round the final turn 20 now. And, this is going to be slow as well. Probably going to be 144, 45. 143.2, so it actually puts him in provisional first place. Good run there, actually. He must have made up a lot of speed in that final straight there. Set to 143.2, puts him in provisional P1, so great run from him.
Yeah, that's a good time. You can see in comparison to Tony Foster, who has set his time on the intermediate tires, yeah, they're definitely not the right choice now. So the track has been dry enough to run with full softs, and yeah, just have a shot at it.
Adrian Rich now coming round to start his fast lap, so we'll go on board with him. Toro Rosso driver, experienced driver, and indeed co-commentator with myself on a Thursday evening for the F1 Tonight NL League. He'll be joining me this Thursday as F1 Tonight NL will be race 5 for their season 6, and that's the Circuit de Catalunya. So that's where we'll be this Thursday.
Yeah, can't wait for that one.
Yeah, always a good race, Catalunya. Obviously, Catalunya, for those of you who may not necessarily be familiar with F1, is the main testing track for teams in the off-season. So, as a testing track, it can be guaranteed it's got a little bit of everything, and it certainly has. It is a fast track, though.
Yeah, for me, the last 2 seasons I had the privilege to win these races. I really love this track. As you said, it has everything in it. Straight line speed at start finish. Sector 3 is very technical. Sector 2 is very difficult with a lot of high speed corners. So yeah, I really love this track. And maybe with some rain, yeah, we can see.
You're already projecting that win for this Thursday, John. I can see it.
Yeah.
Well, Adrian Rich
That's
now.
something I won't deny.
Well, if you don't try, you never will. And it's looking good time for Adrian Rich. He's on that start-finish straight. I think we're going to see a 140 from him. Yeah, 140.5. from Adrian Rich, so good run. That puts him in provisional P1. I'm sure he's going to be very, very happy with that indeed.
He just has enough time
Cameron
to
Widdowson
do another
in
run.
the Renault has come across the line. Provisional P2, 142.8. Jake Sorrell still fitting that P3. He's in the pits at the moment. Dylan Platt is on an outlap, currently sitting P4. Tony Foster on an outlap as well. Russ Milburn is still in the pits, not too sure what's happening there. He's actually still on intermediate tyres, so I don't know if they're still having issues.
I think he's the one with the connection issues.
Yeah, Ryan Lear out on track now, and he is going for a fast lap here. And let's see what he can do. Alfa Romeo driver Ryan Lear. Alfa Romeo doing very well in the standings at this moment in time. Ryan is sitting 7th in the Drivers' Championship as it stands after China last week. Let's go on board with him now. He's in the final sector into the penultimate turn. He's looking a good time. See him break that 140. He does 139.7.
That's a
good
time.
run from him. But in the meantime, we missed Tom Stevens. Who actually set a blinding time there of a 138.3. So we have gone into the 138s, and that's the end of the session. Obviously, drivers out on track will still have the opportunity, but Tom Stevens looks like he's got that P1 position back in strength here. Tom actually rated, I think, 3rd fastest globally on time trials on this track for 2019. So great run from Tom Stevens there. Puts him provisionally into that P1 position. I've got to say, I think that's looking strong. I can't see anybody breaking it at this moment in time. Phil Harris, though, is out on track. He is going for a fast lap. So is Phil Harris going to be able to break that grip that Tom Stevens had? He's certainly going for it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's definitely going for it, and I hope he can just get his car in front of Ross Milburn and Dylan Platt. Obviously, Ross Milburn hasn't set a time yet, but yeah, still. Also, Adrian Rich coming in 3rd now is set a really reasonable time.
This is a fast time here. This is a fast time. We could see him possibly breaking that 138.3. Oh, and he does! 138.227. Phil Harris takes the P1 position from Tom Stevens. My goodness me, and by, quite a gap. I mean, that's what, a 10th and a half there. That's a great run there. But in the meantime, Dylan Platt has come over the line and actually taken that place from Phil Harris. So that now pushes Tom Stevens into the second row, P3. Dylan Platt is going to be P1. And Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams is going to be P2.
That's amazing, just amazing. He just had he just went over the start-finish line at the exact right moment.
But look at that time,
at the end of the session.
1:37.825, Jonah.
Yeah.
That is an amazing time. 4/10 he's taken out of Phil Harris.
That's a
And
big gap.
5/10 out of Tom Stevens. That is amazing. That is a fantastic run. 1:37.825. I think Dylan can be very, very proud of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it all happened there at the end of Q3, and not surprising, because that certainly is normally the case and what we would expect. So fantastic run there from the Alfa Romeo driver, and the guys will be going straight in to the processional lap. So we'll just wait for them to get readied up. But that was a surprise. I mean, you called Tom Stevens for P1. I called Phil Harris, and we were both wrong. They were close, but they weren't there. Dylan Platt took it right at the end there. That was a fantastic run.
Yeah, definitely. He just had his run was just good timed. He went over the start-finish line at the exact right moment, so he had enough time to do the lap and still be running on a dry track as much as possible, and that's why he managed this.
Yeah, and for those of you looking at the bottom of the screen, seeing drivers leaving session, etc., that's just to let you know what they're doing is they're actually going to be restarting the session, as we had some connectivity issues from about 2 or 3 drivers. So looking to resolve that for the start of this race. The qualifications, though, obviously are as they sat. So Dylan Platt will be in that first row in P1 position on the grid. Alongside him will be Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams. Tom Stevens will be in P3 position, and will be, I'm not too sure actually who Tom was alongside. I think was it Ryan?
Yeah,
and I think Adrian Rich is going to be in the third row, P5 or P6, but we'll get confirmation of that in a few minutes. But I'm just amazed, absolutely amazed. I mean, I don't recall seeing a 1:37 before, not at Baku anyway.
No, if I remember correctly, myself in the time trial session, I was able to do a 1:38.8, I think. So yeah, this is just amazing how fast these guys are going. And I have to confirm, Adrian Rich has been able to qualify in 5th, Tony Foster in 6th, Cameron Whittle in 7th, Jody Foster, Jake Sorrell in P8, and who has to be P9? Tom Johnson, I think.
Tom Johnson.
Yeah,
well,
P9.
We'll run through those, obviously, once we get underway. We'll run through the full grid and position for the guys during that session. We've just transitioned across there to the cutscene, the F1 Tonight logo, because I'm just in the process of rejoining the game. We will, however, obviously, continue our chat. 51 laps, obviously. We've got 14 runners and riders confirmed with us this evening. We know that it is a track, obviously, that does claim its victims. Judging, obviously, on the previous races, and I know, Jonah, that you've been very attentive and been watching those, we haven't really seen any incidents at the start of the races so far during this inaugural season of F1 Tonight UK. It's all been very, very clean and very respectful, hasn't it?
No, I have to be. I need to say this, but F1 Tonight UK is doing just an amazing job in their races. From start to finish, they're putting up a great show. The battles you can see in between the drivers, they are full of respect, but still, they're just going at each other at full throttle, and what they're doing is just amazing. And I'm just speechless, to be honest. I cannot be more proud of this.
Well, it's not very often that happens. I've got to say, Jonah, I know you sent me an invite into the session, but I am actually having issues connecting at this moment in time. It doesn't seem to want to connect.
Oh.
So let me just back out of this. Let me see. Okay, if you want to send me another invite.
There you go.
And then I can pick that up. Hopefully, we should be able to join the session. Obviously, if we can't join the session, then it becomes somewhat problematic. No, I've got an error, failed to join session. So let's try that again. Maybe if you could ask whoever's hosting to send me an invite.
I'll do.
So apologies for the delay here, but unfortunately we did mention that we're having some issues with F1 2019 from Codemasters. And it would be nice if that could get resolved, because obviously it does directly affect these league races, and I'm sure we are not alone with regards to that. So just waiting to get the info up so we can try and join the session. I don't know if I might have to look at a restart. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Jonah.
Yeah, I just to be sure on my side, I did a restart just to be sure.
Was that a hard restart, or did you just quit the game and restart?
I just restarted the game.
Okay, so I'm going to do that myself now. And then if in the meantime you can send me an invite, and then I'll pick that up. Okay, just got one from Adrian Rich, so let's try and go into that. Hopefully the guys haven't actually gone out on their processional lappers yet.
No, not yet.
So, the wonders of technology. Isn't it great? We love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see what happens.
And I think there you go.
Yay! Yep. Okay, so we are back. Just to prove my point, there you go. So we are back. Just waiting for all the drivers then to come in at this moment in time. Have a quick look at here. So we got. So it looks like all 14 drivers are ready to go, and we should be getting underway fairly soon. What you're looking at there, just to give you a quick rundown, those are obviously the drivers that are competing. At the bottom there in that sort of red box, you can see the category. Car performance, you will note, is equal. You'll also note that corner cutting stringency is strict, and that we have manual starts. No ghosting. Now that's very important for those of you that may be familiar with league racing. For those of you that aren't, there is the option in racing or multiplayer racing that if you have somebody that has connectivity issues or they've disconnected, their car is ghosted. Now what does that mean? That means that the car does appear on the track, however it is transparent, so that you can actually drive through it. Now with F1 tonight, that isn't the case, so ghosting is actually turned off. So if a driver disconnects and his AI does indeed take over, what it means is that he is a very solid mass on that track, and you have to get around him the same way as you would with a human driver. You have to get around that AI. It does obviously make it far more interesting. It does also make it far more tricky, because those AA drivers can be quite tricky to get around sometimes, can't they?
Yeah, but it's not the only thing why we have done is because when a driver collides in the wall and his car is wrecked, it also will be standing on the track, so you can't drive through the wrecked car. So you have to get around it, and that's why we have turned ghosting off. Because in the real world, you also won't drive through the car; you will drive around it.
Indeed, and I know, Jonah, that it's very important to you and very important to F1 Tonight to try. Obviously, we appreciate this is sim racing. It's not the real thing, but it's very important to get it as close to the real world scenario as possible, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one thing we're all aiming at. We want to be as close to the real world as we possibly can. That's why we're also looking very forward for driving with a wheel instead of a pad. And yeah, it's just what we just want is to give everyone the chance to be as close to F1 in the real world as we possibly can for less money as we possibly can.
Yeah, as economically as you can, effectively.
Yeah, and still be able to have the same experience.
Yeah, now some news here that we haven't shared with people, and again, I think it's worth pointing out. Tom Stevens, now, every year or over recent years, Codemasters have worked in conjunction with F1 to actually make a racing championship for that season. And indeed, Tom Stevens is in the process of actually qualifying for the 2020 season. He had a race last Thursday at Singapore where he actually came in second, so he has actually got through and he's looking very strong. And I just want to say to Tom, he won't be watching it now, I should think, but certainly when he does watch this back over, we wish you the absolute best of luck. And you can count on the support of all the F1 Tonight community for your 2020. And let's hope that you get through that pro draft as strongly as you have been doing so far.
Yeah, that's what we all hope and what we all want to give Tom Stevens. Yeah, it's just amazing what he just did last week on Thursday. Unfortunately, we won't be able to watch it myself because I'm running with the Dutch members of F1 Tonight. But yeah, still, it's really amazing what he can do, and it just proves how fast he really is.
Yeah, he is a great driver. I know that Tom's preoccupation at this moment in time, because he does actually use a pad, is switching over to a wheel. And but I don't think he's going to have an issue, because I think, if you've got the ability, it's not how you handle the controller. It's that ability to see things, to preempt things, and to really be one with the actual car itself, isn't it? So whether you use a pad or a wheel, I don't really think it matters. It's just a question of getting accustomed to one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah, I have to be honest. I think driving with a wheel, you'll always be faster because you can take corners more smoothly compared to a pad.
Yeah. So for those of you, again, who may be watching and may not necessarily be familiar with the setups on the various games consoles, most people, when they play a console game, will use a control pad. And indeed, a number of the drivers in F1 Tonight UK, it's probably about a good 5 or 6, I think, use pads, Tom Stevens being one of those. But you do also have the option to use a wheel. I'm not going to promote the various wheel manufacturers. For those of you that are out there, at some point, I'm sure that you'll be looking into that. If any wheel manufacturers are actually watching and they would like us to promote them, then do get in touch. I'm sure we can have that discussion as time goes on. But a wheel is definitely, in my opinion, I think it is advantageous. Plus, it also gives you a much better feel, and I suppose it makes the whole experience more immersive and real, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's one thing for sure. For myself, I'm driving with a wheel without any force feedback, so it's quite hard to feel what the car is actually doing. I'm very much driving on sight and see where I need to make my corrections, and yeah, it's just costing me a lot of time, but still, I do love the feeling of being able to control the car the way I like it, and I just don't have to feel driving with a pad like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting again, because obviously you mentioned the force feedback there. Is that by choice or by design? Is that something that you have to do, or is it just the way it is?
It's just the way it is, unfortunately. I do looking at a wheel with force feedback. That's something I really would like to have, and hope, yeah, very soon to have one.
Okay, well, Dylan Platt, in the meantime, let's go through the runners and riders there as we have them. So Dylan Platt is starting in that P1 position. Alongside him will be Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams, so he'll be in P2, row 1. Row 2, P3 will be Tom Stevens. And Tom, as we were discussing just now, into the pro drafts for the 2020 season.
He's driving on a harder compound. So.
He is driving on a harder compound tyre, that's interesting. Then we have in P4, Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo, so he's in row 2, P4. Row 3, P5, Adrian Rich, and I'm sure Adrian's going to be very happy with that. Good position for him. I think best side position he's had so far this season. Alongside him will be the Ferrari of Tony Foster. Then in row 4, P7, we have Cameron Widdowson, who's currently sitting on the grid. Obviously didn't get off there. Alongside him will be Jake Sorrell, who's also on the grid. P9, that's row 5. We have Tom Johnson in the McLaren. Alongside him will be Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso. Row 6, P11, we have his teammate, John Gregory. Alongside him will be the Haas of Daniel Burt. Then we have row 7, P13, Josh Diggles in the second Haas. And alongside him, P14, Callum White in the Mercedes. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens there. And then bringing up the rear, row 8, P15 is Jordan Marshall in that Renault. Dylan Platt's actually greyed out. Oh yeah, of course, because they're coming to the start-finish line. Okay, so let's have a quick look here at the tyres. So Dylan Platt will be starting on the mediums, Tom Stevens on the hard, and majority of drivers going for the mediums. Only Phil Harris, Tony Foster and Cameron Widdowson in the top 10 actually going for the soft compound tyres. The rest of the drivers are on medium, and Tom Stevens will be starting on the hard compound tyre. So drivers now lining up on the grid. This is F1 Tonight UK Season 1 Race 4 Baku, and we are off for the start of the race.
Oh,
and
Tom
a late
Stevens
start
has a
there.
jump start.
Tom Stevens gets straight out there, jumps immediately into P1, catches all the guys, completely unawares. Fantastic run from him, straight into P1.
He has a drive-through penalty.
He's got to try to start early. He jumped the start.
Get a jump start.
So Tom Stevens, I thought it was a bit quick. Tom Stevens actually jumped the start. He's got a drive-through penalty. Dylan Platt's in second. Phil Harris is in third. Ryan Lear fourth. Tony Foster is 5. Jake Sorrell has now moved up to P5. Tony Foster as he overtakes his teammate there. Cameron Widdowson in the Renault is P7. Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso is 8. Adrian Rich has dropped down to 9. Josh Diggles has gone up 3 to 10. Daniel Burt up 1 to 11. Sean Gregory down 1 to 12. Tom Johnson down 4 to 13. And Cameron Widdowson stays where he is.
Yeah, he's gone straight ahead into turn 6. Actually, he couldn't make a pass for Tom Johnson.
So Jordan Marshall is already out, unfortunately. What a great shame. But it happens, unfortunately. So Jordan Marshall for Renault is out. We are now on board with Dylan Platt, who will take that P1 position as Tom Stevens did jump the start. But has he got, so it's just a drive-through, he hasn't got 5 seconds, it's just a drive-through, is it?
He has a drive-through penalty. He has to conserve this within the next couple of 2 laps, I think. So he might be coming in this or within the next two.
Let's go on board with Dylan Platt. I think Tom Stevens will indeed come in on this lap. Yes, he does. So he's going to go for his drive-through. So Dylan Platt leading the way, but he's got Phil Harris very, very close and personal at this moment in time. Phil Harris trying to take the inside there, see if he can get, but he's got the DRS. He's going to have the DRS now on Dylan Platt. It gives him an opportunity, but I don't think he's really close enough at this moment in time to make any difference. Jake Sorrell, just to quickly let you know, Jake Sorrell has carved through the field here. It's gone up 5 places from 8 to 3. And he's bearing down on these two guys as we speak.
Gregory also has gone into the pits for a nose change, just as Daniel Bird also into the pits. Who's also having a nose change. Callum White also is just getting out of the pits.
Phil Harris gets his nose in front in turn 7. Sorry, what Johnny, but just watching the action here, and now he's got ahead of Dylan Platt. So Phil Harris moves up into that P1 position and takes the place from Dylan Platt.
Yeah, in the meantime, Ross Milton has also getting up close into Cameron Whittle's back for P6.
Yep, let's have a quick look at those guys. Oh, indeed, Ross Milburn, look at this, closing right down now on Cameron Whittleston. Surely he's going to make a move on the straight, but let's quickly get back because Dylan won't have DRS, because DRS does not become activated. DRS is the system where the back wing opens up, increases the airflow and therefore the speed of the vehicle. But that said, he's still closing down on Phil Harris even without that DRS. He's clearly working without ERS at this moment in time, and that's the electronic recovery system. And that gives you about an extra or boost of about 160 brake horsepower depending upon the vehicle. And that's purely from the electrical part of the engine. But Phil Harris is maintaining that gap at this moment in time to Dylan Platt.
Yeah, in the meantime, for P9, Tom Stephen and Tom Johnson have a great battle between them. Tom Stevens just getting ahead of Tom Johnson.
Yeah, Tom Stevens indeed jumps ahead, gets ahead of the McLaren.
Oh, Tom, he doesn't give up. He
Tom
doesn't
does not. Oh, dearie me! Look at this, fantastic job there.
That's a great pass.
That is a fantastic, fantastic pass there from Tom Johnson in the McLaren down into turn 3. We didn't think he was there, but he was right side by side and basically outbraked Tom Stevens. Well, that is a hell of a surprise, I've got to say.
Yeah, I do think, but this is also the tires between them. Tom Stevens, of course, driving on a hard compound, and Tom Johnson driving on the most softer compound. So yeah, that's where he gets his advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. It does give you obviously much better braking distance and acceleration, as you quite rightly point out. Tom Stevens on the hard compound tyre and Tom Johnson on the soft. But Tom Stevens isn't letting it go, is he? I mean, look at this.
No, definitely not.
And he's going to have DRS, because DRS has now been enabled, so they will have DRS as they come onto the start-finish straight.
Fighting Jake Sorrell for P3. Just coming up start-finish straight. Yeah, Ryan Leah just made a move into first corner, but doesn't keep it. Jake Sorrell takes it back.
Tom Stevens leading the way to turn 1, but look at that. Tom Johnson not letting him get away with it easily, really makes him work for that. But Tom Stevens ahead now of Tom Johnson in that McLaren, but that McLaren driver, I don't think he's going to give it up easily, but no, the Mercedes is already pulling away from him. So great run there. So Tom Stevens now released to close down that gap to Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. He's currently P8. Cameron Widdowson, main Renault driver, is in P7. Russ Milburn in a Toro Rosso is P6. Tony Foster in a Ferrari is P5. Ryan Leah in the Alfa Romeo, just ahead of him in P4. Then we have Jake Sorrell, and Jake seems to have lost some time to Dylan Platt there. He was about 3 seconds behind. He's now 6 seconds.
Yeah, that's because of the fight with Ryan Leah he had just the lap before.
Okay.
So he lost a bit of time.
So Jake Sorrell now is going to be looking to try and close back down that gap to Dylan Platt. Dylan Platt, in the meantime, still has the Rocket Williams of Phil Harris in his line of view. It's not looking too bad. Now, this is the next question really now, isn't it? Okay, the race has settled some. Oh, sorry, just quickly cut back actually here. We've got Russ Milburn closing down on Tony Foster.
It's exactly the same battle I was watching. Yeah, Ross Milburn is just getting close and behind.
And Tony hits the barrier on one. Ross Milburn gets ahead of him. Does he get ahead of him or not? He's going to try. Yes. Oh, and Tony again. I think he made contact. But Ross Milburn, yeah, gets past Tony Foster now. Down into
he
three.
has front wing damage. Tony has front wing damage on the right hand side.
Definitely front wing damage on that Ferrari. Let's have a quick look at that. See if we can actually get a better look at it. Yeah, he's got the end plate on the right-hand side of the front wing gone. That's obviously where he made contact. But he can stay out on that. But this isn't a track where you really want to have any front wing damage, is it? Because it's very important to have that downforce and grip on those front tyres.
No, definitely in the last sector when the most corners are all flat out, you just want to have downforce and make the commitment when you go into the two in the corner. And yeah, that's where you really need your front wing.
I've got to say, even with that damage, Tony Foster not doing too badly at all there.
In the meantime, Tom Stevens is getting close behind Cameron Whittle.
Tom Stevens now closing down on Cameron Widdowson, as we can see here. Look at this, nothing in it at all. Tom is really starting to charge through that field. Cameron Widdowson, new Renault driver, he's not going to make it easy for him, sticking to his line there, but then again, not an awful lot else you can do around this track now. This is the opportunity Tom Stevens is looking for out of 20. Yeah, easily makes the move, gets ahead of that Renault. Tom Stevens moves up now to P6.
Ryan Lee is getting a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane in the meantime.
Tom Stevens now on the back of Tony Foster very quickly indeed. Wow, he's definitely moved to the field, but his teammate Callum White is not having it so easy, is he? Callum White's still back in 13th.
No, he's not making...
Contact between the Mercedes there and the Ferrari. Tony Foster, oh, look at this.
Oh.
Cameron Widdowson, as they were coming round, got contact there with the Mercedes. And we've got two cars out here at turn 3.
It's Tony Foster and Cameron
yellow
Widdowson.
flags, we could see a safety car. Yeah, look at that, right on the exit of turn 3 there. Cameron Widdowson and Tony Foster. And that was due. Now, yeah, I mean, Tom did well. I mean, obviously that may be something I think the stewards are going to be wanting to look at. But was the door open enough for Tom Stevens to try and get into that apex of turn 3? What are your thoughts on that from what we saw?
To be honest, I have to look it back, but just from what I've seen, I'm not sure Tom Stevens had enough room to make that move. So yeah. I have to look back to make a definite decision about this one, but yeah, this could be one for the race stewards to break their heads on. In the meantime, Adrian Rich has also front wing damage on the front left side, just as Tom Johnson also on the front left side has wing damage. I think this is also coming from the big crash.
Yeah, that came from that incident. Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a horrible place, right on the exit of that turn 3. It is not a pleasant place for you to come across two cars in the middle of the track. I'm surprised we haven't seen the safety car come out. Indeed, and the yellow flag. So that has somewhat surprised me. So they will be coming into the pits. So we'll have a few drivers coming into the pits. We'll have a quick look at that. But already we're on lap 7 and we've got 4 DNFs. Tony Foster, Cameron Widdowson both go out following that contact that Tony Foster had with Tom Stevens. Callum White has gone out as well, and I don't know if that was around the same incident. Was that around the same incident?
Yeah, that was around the same incident. Callum White was coming up behind Adrian Rich, if I remember correctly, and was smashed up his car behind him.
Oh dearie me. So I'm sure, well, I don't think Tom Stevens is going to be that happy with himself by the fact that he's inadvertently and indirectly actually taken out his teammate. But in the meantime, we are on board with Phil Harris and this battle that he has on his hands with Dylan Platt. And these guys have really been going for it from the start. Obviously, Tom jumped the start, a little bit anxious there. Dylan took the lead. Phil Harris took it from him on the second lap, and Dylan is really fighting hard now to come back onto this as they come down into turn one. Who is going to be ahead? Oh, Dylan just getting ahead there, so Dylan Platt moves ahead now and takes that P1 position back from Phil Harris. This is a real fight we're seeing here, isn't it, John?
Yeah, you can see just quite well here that the medium compound tire is now getting the advantage over the soft tire, who's getting old and at the end of their lives.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing I was going to touch on earlier. Obviously, the compounds do have a difference. Generally, the harder the compound, the longer the distance you can stay out on track. Phil Harris, obviously, on this soft-walled red tyre, the softest compound for this track today, he has already set laps on the qualification, because if you recall, I said they'd have to start the race on the tyre which they set the fastest lap in Q2. That means that he's probably got at least 2 or 3 laps on those tyres already, hasn't he?
Yeah, because in the Q2 run he did 1 times run, 1 outlap and 1 inlap, so yeah, the tyre already is 3 laps old.
So in actuality, he's actually done 10 laps, coming up to 11. So I would expect these soft compound tyres at the start of the race to not go any higher than probably 12 or so laps. I wouldn't expect him to go much further than that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, John.
From what I've seen from the Dutch league races, I have been able to see some guys making it into lap 14, if I remember correct.
Yeah, okay. No, but Phil Harris comes into the pits now, so he will be coming off those tyres. In the meantime, Jake Sorrell is closing down on Ryan Lear. So Jake Sorrell, new driver to Ferrari, second race for F1 Tonight UK in this inaugural season. And he performed very well in that first race last week in China. And so far, he's performing pretty well here as well. Takes that P5 position from Ryan Lear and moves ahead of him. So Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari moves up to P5. That said,
Ryan
though,
Lear has now the slipstream and getting back.
Yeah, Ryan Lear, he's not going to give it up, is he? Ryan trying to lead into turn 1. Roll! Fantastic there, side by side, round turn 1. Into turn 2 now, side by side again. Look at this, this is really close. And Jake just tucking in behind behind Ryan Lear. As they come down to that turn 2, he's going to try and see if he can make the move before he gets down to turn 3. Yes, he does, and he gets ahead of him again, but Ryan isn't going to let it go that easily. And again, another great battle between the Alfa Romeo and the Ferrari here, isn't it, John?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, Jack Sorrell is doing just an amazing job in his only second race for F1 Tonight. So yeah, really amazing what he's showing off here.
Very, very good indeed. And starting to pull away now from that Alfa Romeo. So
in the meantime, Adrian Rich has made his second stop already.
Adrian, the Red Bull driver Adrian Rich, is into the pits again. Going into a soft compound tyre, so maybe his tyres didn't go for the tyre change when he went into the pits earlier. So Jake Sorrell anyway moves up into that P5 position. And Phil Harris has pitted. He's come out onto a set of mediums. He's come out in P4, so he's still looking quite strong, but he is now behind Tom Stevens on that hard compound tyre, and Tom will be able to go deeper. How deep do we think that Tom can go on these hard compound tyres?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not quite familiar there with the hard compound on this track. What I do know is that a two-stop strategy on this track is the most fastest strategy you have. When you're starting on soft and going to medium, and then again make another stop onto medium tires. For sure, he started on the harder compound, so I'm guessing he may it into lap 30 or so, and hoping to get another stop into a medium tire compound, and so make a one-stop strategy.
So you think maybe sort of round about lap 30 29 to 30?
35.
Sorry?
I think 30 till 35.
But surely if he gets into that 30 to 35, I mean, if he can get it into 35, he's only got 16 laps remaining, he could go onto a soft compound tyre.
Yeah, but I think in the end, the soft compound tire is dropping off amazingly hard. So yeah, he could be getting some difficult times then. And when he managed to keep up this pace with these tires, yeah, for sure I will be making a decision to go onto the medium tire.
Okay, so I think actually, to be brutally honest with you, John, that does make sense. And yeah, if he went certainly round about sort of 30, 35. 35 is certainly comfortably within the mediums, and even 30, I think it could be achievable, go for that one stop. And I think that's definitely what Tom Stevens is looking at. Phil Harris is closing down on him at this moment in time. So Phil Harris, obviously on the faster medium compound tyre, gets ahead. Indeed, but Tom's going to be fighting back. As they come down into turn 2, he will have the DRS, remember, on Phil Harris. But Phil, I think, staying ahead of him. He's not going to be able now to make that move into turn 3. So I think Phil Harris has now convincingly got ahead of Tom Stevens in that Mercedes, hasn't he?
Yeah, this is the section where the medium compound tire will have the advantage of the harder compound, so Phil Harris should be able to move into the distance.
Now this is very important for Tom. He needs to stay under that seconds to get the DRS on that start-finish straight. He's very, very close to the mark at the moment. He's only, what, 300ths off that. So Phil Harris is going to be working very hard to increase that gap, and Tom Stevens is going to be working just as hard to close it down, but it's already to 1.2 seconds. He needs to close that down before he gets down to turn 16 if he stands any chance at all of coming back at Phil Harris. But I've got to say, at this moment in time, he's not going to have it.
No, what Tom Stevens just now has to do is keep his momentum, drive for himself, not fooling around, and keep his tires as conservative as he possibly can. In the meantime, Sean Gregory made a move into for P7 on Josh Diggles. Yeah. So Sean Gregory gets ahead. Oh, and Josh Diggles has gone into the wall. Oh, a lot of damage there. Josh Diggles in the Hassie, just been overtaken by Sean Gregory and lost it on turn 15. But it's easy to do on that turn 15, isn't it? You're coming off that high speed, 13 and 14 turns, building up speed. You've got a downhill left. We see it time and time again, drivers just getting the braking wrong and going into that barrier on the right-hand side, don't they? Yeah, to be honest, it's not exactly the braking point where they're going to.
No, it's the exit.
It's the curb on the left-hand side. It's very high compared to other curbs in other corners. So yeah, that's where you can make some wrong decisions. Yeah, definitely. And it's not uncommon to see contact there. So Tom Johnson in the McLaren moves up to P8. Josh Diggles coming out of the pits now. I think he will come out. Yes, he will come out in P9. Adrian Rich currently is in P10 in that Red Bull. And look at that, he's already got Phil Harris closing down on him. Phil Harris just taking it. And Tom Stevens is out. Tom Stevens has gone out. Hey. Tom Stevens is out, and it looks like it's the castle section. Let's go on board with Ryan Lee. Safety car.
Safety car is out. Tom Stevens has lost it, and it was in the castle section.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look here. We can't see the car, but Tom Stevens. I can't see the safety car out. Actually, I've got no safety car showing. No, there is no safety car.
Yeah, I can see from the signs on the right hand side of the track.
It does say safety car, but it's not indicating that there's actually one out. So Tom Stevens has gone out. Oh, what a shame. So both Mercedes out, and he's out again. He did this in China, and this is going to seriously affect his championship run here. So safety car is indeed out. Let's go to Dylan Platt.
You can immediately
Dylan Platt
see
catching up with the safety
Milburn
car.
is going into the pits, making a decision for going for another stop on this soft tyre.
So some of the drivers here will be coming into the pits. Jake Sorrell into the pits, Ryan Lear into the pits. And it makes sense, doesn't it? When you've got a safety car and the cars are going to bunch up anyway, you might as well come in and give yourself a better chance and get on a fresh set of tyres.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure it's a shame Adrian Rich is now running at the back, already a lap down from what I can see. So yeah, it's a shame he's not getting his lap back now.
So we're on board at this moment with Dylan Platt, who is leading this race. He's now caught up with the safety car. Phil Harris obviously close in behind him. He's currently in P2 position. Ross Milburn in the Toro Rosso just needs to unlap himself from, or just get past Adrian Rich and close down to Phil Harris. Then we have Jake Sorrell in P4 for Ferrari. P5 is Sean Gregory, second Toro Rosso driver, just coming round 6 down towards the castle section. We have Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo, just in close behind him. We have Tom Johnson in the McLaren. Josh Diggles, who we saw make that contact with the barrier earlier, just going into 7, and sure he's got a fresh front wing on there. He's got, yeah, he has already come in, so he's got a nice fresh front wing on that one. And then bringing up the rear, we have Adrian Rich in the Red Bull. So safety car will stay out, it will come in at the end of lap 14. So now this is going to make a big difference, because all the cars now are going to close down to each other, aren't they? John? Okay, we seem to have lost contact with John at this moment in time. John, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, mate. Sorry, my battery died. I was talking to you, but
it's all happening. It's all happening tonight. Oh, dearie me. Oh, well, at least you've replaced them, so that's okay. Yeah. But I was just saying, John, now, I mean, this is amazing, because now all the cars have closed down to each other. This is going to be basically a rolling start for this race again.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited to see this one, how this one pans out, because we didn't have this situation before, if I'm well. And yeah, for sure, everyone on almost the same HS tires. So yeah, this could be quite fun to see.
I've got to say, my money, I've got to say here, is actually on Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari in that P4 position. We've seen him go through the field quite convincingly. I think he's going to have a great opportunity here off the start. But equally, just ahead of him, obviously, we've got Ross Milburn as well in that Toro Rosso, also on the soft compound tyres. So I think we're going to see a fight going on with the Toro Rosso and the Ferrari, and very possibly getting ahead of Phil Harris and Dylan Platt. This is going to be a very interesting start.
Yeah, what they really need to do is get in front of Phil Harris and Dylan Platt as soon as they can, because they now have the advantage of the newer tire and having the soft compound, and really need to make those seconds count, and need to create a gap. So when they need to stop again for the new tires, they have the advantage.
Indeed, Dylan Platt now backing up the drivers. So what happens is, under safety car, the lead driver can effectively slow down the pack, because nobody's allowed to overtake him, And what he's doing, he's waiting for the opportunity to release, because he can only overtake that safety car once it's in the pits. And you can see Phil Harris positioning himself, and there goes Dylan Platt now. Dylan Platt is off, Phil Harris is close in behind him. And then we have the two drivers there, Russ Milburn and Jake Sorrell, right alongside each other. And yeah, you can see there that Jake Sorrell, oh, Jake's coming to the pits. Oh, okay, that's a bit of a surprise. Okay, Jake into the pits, Ross Milburn comes in, and Adrian Rich going very, very wide there. Sean Gregory moves up into P4. Ryan Leah in the Sauber is now P5. Tom Johnson in McLaren P6. Josh Diggles 7. Jake Sorrell in the pits. He's getting a new nose. He must have got some damage on that restart.
Yeah, he had consistent damage when Dylan Platt was backing up the grid. That's where he lost his front wing.
So with the backing up, what happens is obviously the guys are you've got to watch the car ahead of him. He clearly went into the car in front.
Yeah, in the meantime, Josh Diggles has a great battle with Tom Johnson for P6.
Yes, look at this wheel-to-wheel action here. Tom Johnson closing down on Josh Diggles, nearly gets him through 5-6, backs off. I don't know if he's actually, no, he hasn't got any damage on that front wing. So Tom Johnson fighting. Oh, and he's gone out into the wall. Oh no, he clipped turn 8, went into turn 9, and he's wiped out that front wing from his McLaren. Deary me, that is not what he wanted. So no front wing now on Tom Johnson's McLaren. He's going to have to come into the pits, and that's going to drop him back to P8. Because I don't think Adrian Rich is going to be able to... and he makes contact again, round 15.
That's the end of the race.
And that's it, he's out. And he just went a little bit too strongly into that turn 15. Tom Johnson is out for McLaren.
Adrian was just able to avoid his car when he collided with the ball.
Oh, dearie me. So, another DNF there. And that's the McLaren of Tom Johnson. And Tom Johnson is out of this race. What a shame. What a shame indeed. Okay, so let's get back into this now for the remaining drivers. And Baku, we're only 16 laps into this race at 51 when you haven't even reached the halfway mark. We're just about past the third mark, I think. Well, it certainly has been a race full of incidents, hasn't it, Jonathan?
I don't know if you can remember what I said in the start of this, this event started, this track and F1 tonight, it does not match. And here you go.
It looks like the UK are following the same route. It is such a tough track, it has to be said. But Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo leads the way at this moment in time. Russ Milburn in the Toro Rosso has moved up into P2, and I said that, you know, don't be surprised if you see those front runners on those soft tyres. Russ Milburn and Jake Sorrell. Jake Sorrell obviously getting that front wing damage, had to come in, but Russ Milburn stayed out on those soft tyres, has got past Phil Harris and has moved up into P2. Phil Harris in the Rocket Williams is in P3 position. Sean Gregory in the second Toro Rosso is in 4. Tony Foster has left the session. Tony Foster, oh, he's already gone out. Okay.
He's already gone out.
He just left the session, that's all. Okay, so Tony Foster leaves the session. Sean Gregory is in P4. Josh Diggles in the Haas is in P5. Ryan Leah in the Alfa Romeo is P6. Jake Sorrell is in P7 and Adrian Rich is in P8. Well, 8 drivers remaining, half the field. Half the field is gone. John, we're not even halfway through the race and we've lost half the drivers.
Yeah, if you can do a little bit of math, I'm very terrified when we reach lap 34.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. for those statisticians that are out there, and I'm not going to repeat that, I'm sure you can figure out what we're talking about. Obviously, at this rate of decay of drivers that we have, we could possibly look at one driver finishing the race, so let's hope not. But
it for sure wouldn't be the first time, because we already had that one also in the Dutch League, and that was at Monaco season 2.
Well, I didn't catch that one because I think I joined you in Mexico or Brazil for that season, so that's one I missed out on. Well, this is amazing, it really is, but as I say, we got time to see what happens now. Okay, so let's start having a look at the strategy. Obviously, and Dylan Platt has made contact on the exit of 15. He's taken out the end plate on his front right wing there, and surely, yeah, he's going to have to come in. Oh, what a disaster for him, because that means he's going to lose that lead, and Ross Milburn in that Toro Rosso is going to take that P1 position.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's not what Dylan Platt wanted. Yeah, but still, yeah, for Ross Milburn, this he now needs to make these seconds count. He still is on the softer compound tire, so he needs to get this advantage as soon as he can.
Okay, so now that we have, I'll keep my fingers crossed, see if we've got a little bit of break to have a little bit of chat here, because there's so much going on this race. But okay, let's have a quick review here. We've got Ross Milburn now. He's in first place. He's on 5-lap-old softs. How deep can he go on these soft tyres, do you think?
I think he still has a minimum of 7 laps remaining in these tyres.
Okay, so let's say he goes up to lap 12, maintains his place. We've got Phil Harris in behind him in second place. He's on 9-lap-old mediums. Now, those mediums should go, what, 25 to 30 laps?
Yeah, I think 22, 25 laps, and when you're really easing it off, you might stretch him until a lap of 30 or so.
Okay, so let's say 25 laps. He's got 14 laps remaining on those tyres. Ross Milburn has got, we say, what? Another 8 laps?
Yeah, 8 laps.
Okay, 8 laps, so he's going to come in. So Phil Harris should take that P1 position. We then got Sean Gregory, who's currently in that P3 position, and he's on a set of mediums, so he could stay ahead of Phil Harris, but he's going to need to race that. So we could see Sean Gregory taking the P1 position if they stay as they are, once Ross Milburn and Phil Harris have come into the pits. Josh Diggles, he's on 6-lap-old soft tyres, so he's probably going to be coming in within the next 7-8 laps. Now, Dylan Platt, in the meantime, has gone onto the hard compound tyre. Okay, so he's 21 seconds behind. Now, this is the longest, I think, is it the longest pit stop? No, it's not.
It's
no,
Belgium,
it's not.
I think.
No, the longest pit stop is Singapore. So this pit stop is what, about 22 seconds?
Yeah, it's around about 22, 24 seconds.
Okay, so let's say 23 seconds. Dylan Platt, effectively, if he maintains the gaps as they stand at this moment in time, should be able to come out and assume that P1 position. He will take that P1 position, and it's probably going to be round about lap 30 to 35. That's when he's going to take that place, I think.
Yeah, but for sure then he has the his tires will be at a very old age also, so he won't be making it till the end, I think. But yeah, if he does make it till the end, oh, Phil Harris has gone out. And
oh, look at this! Oh my goodness me! And again in that castle section, look at this. We've got 2 cars out. Phil Harris and Sean Gregory both
Dylan
gone
Platt
out.
Is coming up. Dylan Platt is coming up.
So Phil Harris and Sean, nice dearie me, Dylan Platt nearly makes contact. Sean Gregory and Phil Harris both out.
Finally he's taking it easy.
I'm sorry guys, I'm sorry guys. If any of you drivers are watching this back over, I'm laughing in total disbelief here, because we've now lost another 2 drivers, and we've lost the 2 drivers that were looking so promising for this race, and that's Sean Gregory and Phil Harris. And yeah, we got 6 drivers remaining and 31 laps to go. John, what's going on? What's happening?
To be honest, I think we might reconsider if Adrian Rich is going to win this race. If this keeps going on like this, in this frequency. In the meantime, Jack Soul has made a move on Ryan Leah. And that was for
Indeed,
P4.
Jake Sorrell takes that P4 position, but not only that, he's also got 2 drivers in the pits, so he actually moves up to P2. And Ross Milburn, the Toro Rosso driver, the rookie Toro Rosso driver who joined us last week in China, is now leading this race in P1, and he's 33.5 seconds ahead of second place Jake Sorrell.
Yeah, on the same age tires, same compound, so this is only Ross Milburn's race to lose now, to be honest, and everything behind him, yeah, will be fighting for P2 if nothing really weird is going to happen, I think.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything further at all, John, because you know, has the commentator's curse come to life here at Baku? I don't think so. I think it's just really a question of these guys, and again, let's sort of clarify this. These guys are not necessarily, they're not used to doing 100% races, and this is a tough track. It takes no prisoners. This is one of the tracks, I would say, as a city circuits are obviously always the more difficult. The levels of concentration are much higher. I would say that this is on a level par from a concentration point of view as, say, Singapore, which is probably the toughest one. You know, if I had to put an order, it would probably be Monaco the toughest, Singapore the second, and Baku the third as a city circuit.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the track is enormously wide everywhere, but there's just one part where it's so narrow, where you need to put your car just in between those walls, and where you exactly need your full concentration, and that's where we, if I'm correct, we lost the most guys tonight. Yeah, it's... Yeah, I don't know what to say anymore.
There's not an awful lot really that we can say. So we have got to lap 21. However, we've got to lap 21 by losing, well, almost 2/3 of the field. We have actually... Let's have a quick look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 drivers. We started with 15. There should have been simple maths, 9 from 6, but never mind. 9 drivers. We've got 6 remaining. Wow, what a fantastic, what an amazing race it has been so far. And we've still got 30 laps to go, John. What are we going to do? 30 laps to go. As you rightly said, for those statisticians out there, at this rate of decay, we should be done in about 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's really terrible to say. But yeah, you could be right. You could be right.
Well, only time will tell. Ross Milburn for Toro Rosso leading the way at this moment in time. Jake Sorrell, though, for Ferrari, and I was saying earlier, you know, this guy has so far shown, you know, some great racecraft. He did fantastically well in China. He's doing equally well here at Baku. Well, for starters, he's still on the track, but he's up into that P2 place, but he's 33 seconds behind Ross Milburn. You said, you know, it's Ross's to lose at this moment in time. You're right, he does have effectively a pit stop in hand. If you were Jake Sorrell, looking at this now and looking at that gap, what would your thoughts be? And he is obviously a fellow Ferrari driver. You are driving with Ferrari this season.
Yeah, definitely. For the Super League standings, I'm very glad to see Jake Sorrell moving into P2. Yeah, for sure. When I'm in this situation, I would make the decision to not drive too long on the soft tire and make a fast pit stop to the harder compound and end my race. Because yeah, you're insured of P5 actually, because he's a lap up on Adrian. So yeah, there's not much he can lose actually. So
what you're saying is, if you were in this position, you'd be looking to come in off those soft tyres now and go onto a hard compound tyre?
Not right away. I would wait. How old is our history?
7 laps at the moment.
7 laps. I would wait another 3 or 4 laps before coming in and make the change to the harder compound.
Okay, so you're looking to maybe come in lap 26. 27, so that would leave you with, say, 23, 24 laps on those hard compound tyres.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, because your car is getting lighter, so the wear on the tires should regain.
Okay, so indeed, and that's an important point that John's actually pointed out. Obviously, these cars go out fully fueled. There is no refueling in the pits and hasn't been for quite a while now. What it means is obviously as the race progresses, you burn off the fuel and the car becomes lighter. So then the pressure on those tyres, the force on those tyres is obviously reduced accordingly. So Jake Sorrell is in P2 at this moment in time. Ryan Lear in the Alfa Romeo is in P3. Josh Diggles in the Haas is in P4. Dylan Platt in the Alfa Romeo is in P5. Adrian Rich is now in P6. Good day for Alfa Romeo. Both drivers still in and picking
it's
up
the
points.
only team still in.
Yeah. Only full team still in is Alfa Romeo, and this is going to really play very much into the hands of the Constructors' Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. If I'm correct, they're standing third.
No, they are actually second in the Drivers' Championship, in the Constructors' Championship this moment in time. They're only 10 points behind Mercedes. With this standing, it means that if they maintain their places, Alfa Romeo will be leading the Constructors' Championship and will be ahead of Mercedes.
That's quite amazing, because in the Dutch league, Alfa Romeo is standing at the bottom of the league, and he'll be standing at the top. So yeah, that's quite fun to see.
It's certainly going to make it interesting for that Super League, and we will have news during the course of this season on the Super League, and we're having a bit of a break around about November time, and also for Christmas, so I might look to put something together to just do a little mini broadcast on the Super League, and we will be organising some races, but that's yet to be arranged, but we will obviously keep you informed with regards to that. So we're approaching the halfway mark. We're on lap 24 of 51. 6 drivers remaining. We've had, well, 9 DNFs. But interestingly enough, we've had, we have 3 DNFs on turn 3 and 3 DNFs in the castle section. Sorry, or was it 5? No, 5 DNFs in the castle section and 3 DNFs on turn 3. So that's 8 of them. Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that, the difficulty levels on this track, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Those are the sections that needs the most focus when you're on your game. So yeah, you can see that the most people are having somehow having difficulties matching this track for this time being.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to have a quick look down here, because Dylan Platt currently 1.6 seconds off the back of Josh Diggles, but it looks to me as if he's starting to close, or he is not even starting, he is closing down on that Haas of Josh Diggles.
Yeah, he is. He just went 3/10 faster in the last lap.
3/10. So on that basis, he should be catching up with Josh Diggles within probably, about another 2-3 laps? 3 laps?
Yep. 3 laps.
So we could well see a challenge from Dylan Platt on Josh Diggles. Now that's interesting, because Dylan's actually on older compound tyres. Same compound, but older by 5 laps. So it could be that those, because these medium tyres rather, they hit their peak round about sort of this sort of time into their wear, isn't it? They need about sort of 15-20% wear before they seem to come alive then, don't they?
Yeah, that's quite well actually. When they reach the most good performance, they keep them alive as long as they can, and that will be around a lap or 10 or so.
Yeah. So he's in that zone now, which is what we're looking at. And you can see here he's already taken 3/10 out of Josh Diggles' time, and now this is the important thing, is when you can see that guy ahead of you, that really is important because now you can see your target, can't you?
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier to drive the car because you can just focus on the guy ahead of you. The only thing now is when Josh Diggles makes a mistake, you automatically make the same mistakes when you're following the car in front of you.
Yeah, because you're concentrating on the car ahead, not necessarily on what you should be doing. Well, obviously both, but yeah, you're right. You can, and you do see it sometimes. The drivers, you know, somebody ahead of them will make a mistake, and they will follow almost exactly the same sort of line. And especially, say, for instance, into that turn one, you're working on the premise that you need to be following that guy because he's taking the right line. And sometimes you almost get led into making that error because they have.
Yeah, definitely. And that's just the mindset you have when you're racing, especially when you're closing into the guy in front. In the meantime, yeah, Dylan Platt is closing in on Josh Diggles, but also Adrian Rich is closing into the guys in front of him. But of course, he's still a lap down.
Yeah, Adrian Rich is effectively going to be looking to be unlapping himself at this moment in time. Dylan Platt has still very much got Josh Diggles ahead of him and Ryan Lear as well. So this is interesting because Josh is now closed down to Ryan. He's only 4/10 off the back of him. So yeah, this could be very interesting indeed. Let's go on board now with Josh Diggles. And now you've got to be careful here, haven't you, when you're following that close behind. Coming down into 15, lovely overhead view there, and you can see Dylan Platt in the background. Josh Diggles now effectively in an Alfa Romeo sandwich, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this is where he should make the move on Ryan Lee using his ERS and DRS. Of course, Dylan Platt should follow. Yeah, of course, being his teammate, I'm not so sure he will be making a dive bomb or something.
Well, I don't know.
But they will be going 3 wide, I think.
They will. Oh, and Josh. Oh, a little bit of nose contact there. But Josh Diggles stays ahead, gets ahead indeed of Ryan Lear. Ryan Lear drops to 5. Dylan Platt is now in 4. So Dylan Platt's still closing in, but the loser there was Ryan Lear. He's lost 2 places.
Yeah, yeah. From what I can see, he does not have any front wing damage, not on the left-hand side and also not on the right-hand side, so yeah, the contact he had was very light.
So no damage there. They were looking to be almost going 3 abreast into that turn 1, but Josh Diggles is not giving up. He's got that P3 position, he's not going to let it go easily, but Dylan Platt is out to ruin his day. Question is, can he do so? Well, I've got to say, if I was a betting man, John, but going on previous form, Dylan Platt is in for a good opportunity here.
Yeah, I'm not very sure about this because John Diggles still has the newer tires. There are 5 laps between them, and yeah, of course Ryan Lee still is on the very new super soft tire. So yeah, excuse me, soft tire. So yeah, medium tire.
Yeah, they're both on mediums.
Oh, Ryan Lee is,
oh, Dylan Platt, yeah, Dylan Platt does indeed. He uses that DRS and ERS, gets ahead of Josh Diggles, so you're right there, John. I mean, he is on an older set of tyres, but I think those tyres are at their optimum. Now, what Dylan Platt needs to do is take full advantage of this. He needs to get pedal to metal and get as much air between him and Josh Diggles as he possibly can now. This is really important for him, isn't it?
Yeah, this is also his only opportunity, I think, to get close to Jake Soul. He needs to get down this the gap of 12 seconds what he now has, and yeah, make it count.
Yeah, it's, I mean, he's got a really tough job ahead of him. As we say, I mean, he's got past Josh Diggles, which he is on the same compound tyre, but on a younger compound tyre, so that was a good move in itself. So he has got ahead of Josh Diggles. Now he needs to concentrate on getting up to Jake Sorrell. That gap was 12 seconds. It's already down to 11.6. But how long has he got left? Now, we've been discussing, obviously, we haven't paid a great deal of attention to the run on these medium tyres, but then again, with the safety cars and the stops and etc. we've had, I don't think we've seen anybody actually do a full run on their medium compound tyres, have we? So
no,
we're not too sure how deep they can go.
No, this will be the first time, indeed. The most oldest tyres we have seen until now were 10 laps on Phil Harris. But yeah, of course, he is DNF, so yeah, that we already seeing 13 laps on these medium tyres is for this night a record.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've got Ryan Leah. He is on 15, but how deep can he go? I mean, we're saying that he can probably go to lap 25 on these, so he's probably got another 12 laps left on those tyres, hasn't he?
Jack Sorrell, in the meantime, went into the pit and went out on new medium tyres.
Yeah.
Probably going till the end.
He is going to the end. I mean, he is, isn't he? I mean, let's be honest. Yeah. 22 laps remaining. He's made that choice to go onto those medium tyres now, and I've got to say...
Just came out in front of Ryan Leah.
Yeah, so he's ahead of Ryan Leah, not by much, it has to be said. It is very, very close. Let's have a quick look at that. So Ryan Leah is just in behind Jake Sorrell, but Jake Sorrell onto a fresh set of medium tyres. You can see the difference that it makes once he has the opportunity to put that power down. Okay, so Jake Sorrell come into the pits. He's gone on to a new set of medium tyres. These will definitely take him to the end. Was that an inspired decision to come in at that point and go on to these mediums, John?
Yeah, I think it is. For what you now can see, Ryan Leah is now on the... I think my screen is not projecting the right info. I have Ryan Leah on the soft tyre.
Yeah, I've got him on the mediums.
Oh.
16 lap mediums.
Oh, I have him on full new soft tyre.
It could well be the case. This has happened before when I've been co-commentating with Adrian, where we do have a discrepancy on those tyres. But I'll check that out. But Jake Sorrell, in the meantime, on my board, comes across the line. He's in that P4 position. Let's have a quick look at Ryan Leah. And Ryan Leah, let's have a look on his tyres here as he comes around turn 1. Yeah, he is on the yellow-walled medium tyre. So Ryan Leah on the medium tyre, losing time to Jake Sorrell. Jake Sorrell in P4, and Jake, look at this, he's already closed down 5.5 seconds now to Josh Diggles. He has closed down that time phenomenally. He must have taken about 2 or 3 seconds out on the previous lap.
Yeah, I think so, actually. I don't know, or Dylan Platt has made a mistake somewhere.
Yeah, but equally, Josh Diggles would have had to make that mistake, because Josh Diggles is now in P3. He's 2.2 seconds behind Dylan Platt, so he's lost time to him. Oh! I thought he made contact with the wall there just before I went off screen. So Jake Sorrell is closing down very, very rapidly indeed to Josh Diggles. Now this is going to be very interesting indeed, because obviously Josh Diggles currently in that P3 place. That is a podium finish, podium points, but he is going to be very quickly the under challenge from Jake Sorrell in that Ferrari. He's just coming down to turn 16 now. This is going to be a very interesting fight, John.
Yeah, I think this is the only fight we will have, hoping till the end of the race, making it till lap 51, to be honest. And yeah, we'll have to just wait and see how this unfolds.
Well, Ross Milburn, in the meantime, did come into the pits, go on to a set of medium tyres. So he is on a fresh set of mediums. And that gap to Dylan Platt is now 18 seconds. So yeah, it is 23 seconds around roughly the pit stop. So now this is interesting. Ross Milburn, obviously, he's come into the pits from the lead. He's gone on to those medium tyres. He did have more than a lap or a pit stop in hand. And he's looking good at this moment in time, isn't he, for this P1 and podium finish for his second race.
Yeah, that's really amazing.
So great run there from the Toro Rosso driver, Ross Milburn. Very strong indeed, and very impressive. He's managed to stay alive in the killing fields of Baku. So let's hope he can keep that to the end. Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo is currently in that second place. Is he going to keep that second place? Obviously not. He's going to have to come in and pit. So he is going to lose that second place. Question is when does he come in and pit? Now, clearly, when he pits, he's going to be going onto that soft compound tyre, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on 16 laps old mediums. Let's say he can do another 10 more laps. Then we'll have 9 laps to go. Yeah, he should be going to the soft compound, yeah.
Now, how obviously we were talking about how deep the soft compound tyre can do. Do you think it's realistic, say, for that to do 15 laps to close the race on that soft compound tyre?
At the end of a racing stint, he should be able to do that when the car is light enough and you don't need to push just as hard. It also can be quite interesting who will be able and have the advantage to set the fastest lap time at the end of the race.
Yeah, because an additional point is to be had for whoever sets the fastest lap. So clearly Dylan Platt is going to have to be coming in. He's probably going to be coming in round about lap 40, roughly speaking. He might come in a little bit earlier. He might come in on lap 36 to give himself an opportunity to catch up on those soft compound tyres. He doesn't necessarily have to go to the 41 laps, does he?
No, he does not have to. He's just need to keep his to keep his ease and keep his pace up and not destroying his tires any sooner as he would like.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that one pans out for Dylan Platt there. Now, third place is Josh Diggles. Josh Diggles in the Haas, and this has got to be his best position so far this season. He is going to now be looking to defend that place. Is he going to be able to defend? He's on 12 lap old mediums. He's got Jake Soul bearing down on him. Very soon will be on the back of him. I'd suggest probably at the end of lap 34. What's he going to be able to do? How does he respond to Jake Sorrell now closing this race on those medium compound tyres? Is he going to be able to do anything?
Yeah, I was looking at the times they both have done. Josh Diggles just his last lap went into 1:43.8, and Jake Sorrell just did a 1:43.3, so he was 5/10 faster. So
yeah,
he should
he's
be
clearly
able to close
aware.
the gap within the next couple of laps. I think 6.
I think he's just aware that Jake Sorrell is bearing down on him. I suspect he's probably opened up on that ERS. And if you look at his ERS, indeed, it's very depleted. I think he's just opened up on the ERS to try and keep that gap open. But I think he's fighting a bit of a losing battle there.
Yeah, in the meantime, Adrian Rich made an attempt to do the fastest lap. He just did it in a 1:42.0. You can see that Josh Diggle is opening up his throttle because he just received a 3-second time penalty.
Okay, so unfortunately Josh Diggle's picking up a 3-second time penalty for corner
Being
cutting.
the first of the race though.
Yeah, it is the first of the race.
Yeah.
We weren't taking any notice of the 9 DNFs.
That's harsh.
So Jake Sorrell is in P4 position. We've seen, or we were just discussing, that Josh Diggles is trying to stay ahead of him. Now, how has he done that? He's done that by effectively increasing probably his fuel mix, although he's got to be careful with that because he needs enough fuel to go to the end. Certainly using his ERS, was the electronic recovery system, and as I've spoken about it before, gives you a couple, maybe 150, 160 extra brake horsepower, and that is purely generated by the electrical part of the engine. It's a bit like, I think Nicky refers to it as an electric form of nitrous. So that's what effectively the effect it has. But you can't use it all the time. So with that in mind, if we look now, Jake Sorrell has really closed down. It's now down to 2.1 seconds. He can see that Haas car ahead of him. And as we discussed earlier, once you can see that target ahead of you, you know what you're going for. It makes it, how can I put it? Not necessarily easier, but you can see it. You can see, yeah, that he's there. All I need to do is catch up with him, and I've got him.
Yeah, it gives you a kind of new energy when you see the guy in front of you and you know you're driving towards him, and it could make a life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, indeed. So we are on board at this moment in time, and Jake Sorrell, as I said, would be closing down to Josh Diggles at the end of lap 34, and not quite the gap I was expecting. It's still sitting 2.2 seconds, so maybe at the end of lap 35 we'll see that happen.
I can see Josh Diggles is having some slight problems with his fuel mix. He's driving on a lean mix because he's very close on the fueling.
Yeah, he clearly dialed up that fuel, didn't he, to stay ahead of Jake Sorrell. But it's costing him. He's now having to really pull it right back, and you can see that Jake Sorrell, you know, is closing down. I mean, it's under a second now. He's within DRS now of Josh Diggles.
Yeah, and he's doing this without his ERS. He's still recovering enough energy, I think, to make the move on the end of this lap when they're pulling up the main straight. So
expect to see Jake Sorrell in that third sector out of turn 20, close right down. But I'm sure if he has an opportunity beforehand, he will take it. And this is important because obviously this is for P3, this is for a podium finish. Only 16 laps remaining of this F1 tonight. UK Season 1, Race 4 here in Azerbaijan at the Baku City Circuit. We've seen, well, almost 2/3 of the field taken out by the toughness of this track and its difficulty level. 9 cars have DNF'd, 6 cars remaining. We are on board at this moment in time with Jake Sorrell in the Ferrari, and he's closing down now on Josh Diggles in that Haas ahead of him. Josh will have no way of actually retaliating, and just as they hit the DRS line, yeah, the Ferrari moves ahead. Jake Sorrell takes that P3 place, and well, I mean, it was a foregone conclusion really, wasn't it, John? I mean, all the greatest respect to Josh, he fought as hard as he could, but there wasn't really an awful lot he could do there.
Yeah, this is just where you can see the difference in between the tire rates. Also, Josh Diggles has the problem on the fueling his car, so he has to. He is driving on a lean fuel mix. There, where Jake also has a rich fuel mix and full ERS.
Oh, dearie me! And the Ferrari makes contact into turn 3, and he's taken out his front wing. Josh Diggles must be smiling ear to ear now.
Yeah, this is just a present for Josh Diggles.
Absolutely, this has been totally gifted to him now. Josh Diggles reassumes that P3 place. Jake Sorrell is going to be absolutely raging at this moment in time. I am certain of it.
Yeah, he has to be. He just has to be.
Now, what he's got to do, he's got to take it easy. He hasn't got a front wing here. He doesn't want to do the same thing that we saw earlier on with, I think it was Tom Johnson, where he went into the wall of 15. No, Tom Stevens. Well, no, it was Tom Johnson. Oh, yes! Oh, nearly. He locked up going into 15, nearly wiped himself out. But this is frustration now, isn't it? This is frustration because he is so angry and annoyed with himself, but he's got to take it easy between these final corners now, because he could quite easily lose that front. And yeah, I think he's got it lined up now. He's going to be finishing this race, but not where he wanted to be.
No, definitely not. He was aiming at a podium spot, possibly making a shot for P2. But yeah, still, I was just looking what he has left for his tires. He still has 7 laps old medium tires left. So and that's not where he's going to, so he will be making another
Yeah,
pit
he's
stop, I
going
guess.
onto the soft tyres. This is what he needs to do. He's got to fight back. He will be coming out in P4 because Ryan Lear is considerably further behind him. So he will be coming out, but now he's going to have to work all over again. And that gap now to Josh Diggles is 28 seconds. Sorry, 31 seconds. Well, 31 seconds, 15 laps, sorry, 14 laps remaining. Can he do it?
No, I don't think he can do this. The tires are already 2 laps old, so that's what you have to take into account. Yes, he will be closing down this gap, but I think he will be end up behind him in about 7 seconds or so. And that's when Josh Diggles is not going to pit anymore.
Yep, and it's so easily done. We saw Jake there as he was coming into turn 8, just clipped the barrier on the left-hand side, as you can see it here, and then that's it. That's where he clipped it, and only takes a fraction of an error like that, and yeah, it really has cost him. He's still going to be in good points, but he's very unlikely to be on that podium tonight.
No, I don't think he will be making this podium. Very disappointing for Ferrari, to be honest. For myself as Ferrari driver, I would love to see someone in red getting up on a podium.
Indeed, indeed, but absolutely a gift to Josh Diggles, and I'm sure Josh, big smile and a big sigh of relief now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So Josh Diggles remains in that P3 place. He's 22.5 seconds down. So, you know, Jake Sorrell is going to be fighting to come back to him. We could certainly possibly see Jake Sorrell challenging Josh Diggles, but it's going to be probably towards the high 40s, I suspect.
If he would make it till the end, it will be also around the end of the race. So yeah, I don't think when he's coming close up behind, his tires will have much life left in them to get into a good fight with him.
Well, we'll see what happens. Bearing in mind, Josh Diggles is on 18-lap-old mediums. He's going to actually, yeah, we did discuss this, but Dylan Platt's on 23-lap-old mediums. I think Jake Sorrell is still in with a shout, you know, because Josh Diggles is going to have to come in, as is Dylan Platt.
Yeah, that's exactly why I really think Jake Sorrell has made a bad decision here, because I don't think, well, I'm not quite sure he will be making this till the end with the soft compound tire. If he made a stop, went to the medium compound tire, which already had 7 laps in there, he would be making it till the end.
Yeah, but John, there's 12 laps remaining. He's got 3 laps on those tyres. I mean, by the end of this race, he would have done 15 laps on those soft tyres. That's doable.
Yeah, it is doable, but I don't think there will be. They don't have much life in them left to or defend his place or attack for the driver in front of him.
I don't know. I'm reserving judgment on that one, John. I'm reserving judgment. I honestly...
Yeah, it is a difficult one.
It is a difficult one. I've got to say, obviously, you're looking at it from, you know, the driver experience point of view, which I have to say, obviously, I have to, in effect, concede to, because obviously, you know, you're the driver. You're doing fantastically well this season. You are racing with the Ferrari. You're familiar with the car. But I've got to say, looking at Jake Sorrell and what I've seen of him on track, I think he has it within him to actually do it.
I really do. I really do hope he has in it to do this and still make it into the podium. Maybe what can work to his advantage is that Josh Diggles is getting close into Dylan Platt, and that fight will cost them seconds to Jake Sorrell to close up.
Yeah, but I've got to say, I think we're going to see Dylan Platt coming in. We were discussing this earlier, how deep would Dylan Platt go? And I think we're going to see Dylan Platt, if not coming in now, certainly coming in at the end of lap 41.
No, he's
not coming in now
until Josh Diggles is close up behind him.
Yeah, he's not coming in now. He's staying out at this moment in time. But I think at the end of this lap, sorry, lap 40, maybe 41, but I think at the end of this lap we will see Dylan Platt come in and go onto those soft compound tyres. Josh Diggle's only just under 3 seconds behind him, and he can see Dylan Platt ahead of him now on that straight between 2 and 3. So, you know, that will invigorate him, as we have discussed before. Jake Sorrell has lost time again to Dylan Platt, and he's got front wing damage. Yeah, he's pushed it so hard, he's got front wing damage again, and he's having to come in and go in for a new wing. Now, okay, this has definitely cost him. There's no two ways about it. He's going on to another set of soft tyres, so he is going on to another set of soft tyres, albeit they are 5 laps old. So another scrub set of soft tyres, but that has definitely cost him. But that said, yeah, it has cost him, yeah, because even if Josh Diggles comes in, so I can understand this, because Jake Sorrell now has been pushing so hard. He just pushes that bit. You can push too hard sometimes, can't you?
Yeah, you can drive yourself over the edge, and this is exactly what I mean. And yeah, what you see when a driver gets too angry with himself and overdrive the car.
Yeah, and I think that's very much what we've seen from Jake Sorrell here. Not to diminish from what he's achieved and indeed achieving this evening, but that's driver frustration. That's driver frustration coming in there.
Yeah, definitely.
So Jake Sorrell is still in that P4 place, but he's had to come in and go for a new nose, and he's not going to really, well, he's not going to be able to challenge Josh Diggles for that P3, even though Josh will be coming into the pits, and Dylan Platt is indeed into the pits. So Dylan Platt coming in, he will, I'm sure, be going on to soft compound tyre. Let's have a look. Yes, he is. So straight on to a nice, fresh set of soft tyres, which is fantastic for him. He's got 10 laps, and he will, I'm sure, be looking to set the fastest lap. He's going to be able to challenge, I think, Josh Diggles, though, for that second place, because Josh is going to have to pit. So he will be getting back up into that second place. But the guy who is, well, I'm sure, loving this race at this moment in time, and very, very happy indeed, is Ross Milburn.
Yeah, definitely. What you can see when all the drivers DNF'd, he kept his ease. He made some good decisions, and that's exactly where you can see now that his gap for the second driver ahead of him is now up 40 seconds, and number 2 is 30 seconds behind him. Yeah, it's just all his to lose.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's done a fantastic race. He got driver of the day last week in China, and I've got to say, looking at this, now he's looking pretty good for it. Possibly this week we will have to make that decision, but I've got to say as well that it's going to be a tough one to call. I'm looking at this now, and I'm looking at Josh Diggles as well, because I think Josh Diggles has done a great race as well.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when we compare these two guys, the only advantage Ross Milburn has that he's doing this race with two-stop strategy, and Josh, I think, will be on a four-stop strategy. Yeah. So I do think Ross Milburn just came out a little bit stronger here.
Yeah, I've got to say, I do agree with you. And yeah, I mean, it all depends. We've got 9 laps remaining of this race. This is F1 Tonight UK Season 1, Race 4 here in Azerbaijan at the Baku City Circuit. We were expecting fireworks, but we weren't expecting them to be quite as powerful as they have been. We've seen 9 drivers go out on this race, and we've seen 5 drivers go out here on this castle section. 3 drivers go out in turn 3. It has been a very challenging race indeed, but we've seen some great driving from the guys on the track. Good fighting. Ross Milburn has taken full advantage, got up into that P1 position. We're with Josh Diggles, who's in that P2 position. Came very close. He was in P3, came very close to losing that, but unfortunately Jake Sorrell made an error which pushed him back. Dylan Platt is in P3, but I'm sure Dylan is going to take that second place.
Yeah, I do think so. Although, no, Dylan Platt is only 5 seconds behind Josh Diggles. Yeah, he will be taking that second place, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Josh Diggles is going to have to pit. I can't see him going, well, I mean, he could push to the end of this race on those mediums, but I've got to be honest with you, I don't think he's going to gain anything by that, because he's got a pit stop. And Jake Sorrell's gone out! Jake Sorrell's gone out! Let's have a quick look here. We're riding on board with Ryan Lear, and I think it was in that castle section. Remember, he did clip that 8 earlier on. It's not there. Coming round 12, and there we have it. Yeah, it was on the exit 12 into 13. Jake Sorrell on the left-hand side there. He's lost it, gone into the wall. And yeah, we were talking about the frustration that a driver can have, and he could just push it a bit too much. And clearly, he didn't get the right exit out of 12. And has DNF'd.
Yeah, really a shame. Only 5 drivers left. Still, the only team left is Alfa Romeo, and it's getting weirder and weirder.
Well, I said we'd lost 2/3, nearly 2/3 of the field. We now have actually officially lost 2/3 of the field.
Yeah.
So 7 laps remaining now. We are on board with Ryan Lear. He's in P4 for Alfa Romeo. And Alfa Romeo, I think, are having a great day. Although I'm not going to say anything until the race finishes. But Ryan Lear for Alfa Romeo is in P4. P3 is his teammate Dylan Platt. He will soon be taking that P2 position. Josh Diggles is currently in that P2 position. I'm looking at this, I'm not seeing Josh Diggles coming into pit. I'm thinking that Josh Diggles is actually going to stay out there until the end of this race. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, John.
Yeah, I'm looking at his lap times now. The last 5 laps all went into a 1:44.7, 1:44.8 and a 1:44.3. Dylan Platt is currently driving on the soft compound. He just did a 1:41.7, so he is taking up 3 seconds a lap. So I don't think Josh Diggles will make this to the end and keep P2.
No, I don't think he will keep P2. I'm wondering though if he's looking to keep that P3 place, because if we look at this, he will have over a minute to Ryan Lear, who's currently in P4. So Josh Diggles, if he can manage those medium compound tyres, stay out on track, but he's also got time to come in, so he could easily come in, go onto a soft and still finish P3.
Yeah, he will be losing that second place. He will be also, he has now 2 time penalties, so he also will gain 6 seconds at the end of the race. So he should be smart and wait until the end of the race, get in, get some new soft tires on underneath his car, and go for the fastest lap, and also gain one additional point.
Yeah, he does need to come in. Is he going to come in on this one? I think he might be. Yeah, he's going to be coming in. I think Josh Diggles, Josh Diggles indeed coming into the pits. Dylan Platt takes that second place. So Dylan Platt moves up into P2. Josh Diggles into the pits. And I'm sure he's going to be going on to a set of soft tyres. Let's have a quick look here. Yes, indeed, soft tyres going on to that Haas. And he will comfortably come out in that P3 position. Ryan Lear is going to be round about 1:05, 1:06 behind him, I think, once they actually come round. Oh no, he's staying at 1:21. Oh, okay. So it is on 1:21. So he's got plenty of time. Josh Diggles making the right choice, going on to that soft compound tyre to close the remaining 6 laps. So fantastic run, good run from him. Ryan Lear, in the meantime, in the Alfa Romeo, is in P4. Now this is interesting because he's actually closing down, I think, on Ross Milburn to unlap himself, isn't he?
Unlap himself,
yeah, he is, yeah. So what's happened here, for those of you again unfamiliar, Ryan is actually a lap behind the current race leader, which is Russ Milburn, and that's the car you can just about see ahead of Ryan now. Now, he has the opportunity to unlap himself. He can, if he wishes and has the ability and speed, he can race against that race leader, so he can effectively unlap himself. But then he's got to be careful that he opens up that gap, because otherwise he'll then receive blue flags, because he'll have the race leader closing down on him to overtake, and that being the case, he'll have to move aside. It's always a tricky one, this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, especially for Ryan Leah. But he should notice that at the back of him, Adrian Rich is also a lap down from him. So he has enough room. Just back off of the race leader. Give yourself enough space to put down the fastest lap, and just not interfere with the race leader there where it's not necessary.
Yeah, so I mean, what you're saying there, John, is basically okay. You can see the race leader. There's nothing to be gained to race against him. Back off, build up your ERS, keep your tyres, you know, safe and okay, and just go for that fastest lap once you feel comfortable in these remaining 5 laps.
Yeah, that's exactly what I should do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I think that makes good sense. Although that said, good sense does not always necessarily come to a driver's mind when he sees a car ahead of him.
No, that's one thing for sure.
So
I do need to say, in the meantime, Adrian Rix is driving a very extremely lovely race. He's a lap down already from I think lap 20, I think it was.
Yeah.
We didn't give him much of attention, but yeah, he's still driving around his car, and he's doing a very good job driving all around everyone who's DNF.
Yeah, I've got to say, I mean, obviously Adrian, great driver, my co-commentator on a Thursday night. Not the fastest of drivers, and he'll be the first one to admit that, but certainly the most determined, the most dogged driver, because ultimately at the end of the day, you never know what's going to happen ahead of you, and as long as you stay in the race, you've always got an opportunity, and this really demonstrates that. I know it's a point that Adrian makes quite often, but it is a valid point. Never give up. And here we have a driver, he's managed...
I think I'm shutting down this night. Oh, how is this possible?
Oh God, I've got to say, Adrian, I'm not laughing. Oh my goodness me. But look at this now. Dylan Platt has now come across him and gone through him. Ross Milburn is going to be, he's already through. Dylan Platt managed to get through there. Josh Diggles is in the pits.
Everyone is DNFing where we're talking about. Don't say any more names.
Okay, for those of you watching the stream, I'm going to explain that for the final 3 laps, myself and John are not going to say anything at all. It's going to be in total silence.
Maybe Nicky has put a curse on me.
Do you think Nicky has? Do you think he's got the voodoo dolls out and started putting pins in them, John?
It has to be something like that. This can't be otherwise. It's just not possible. There are only 4 drivers left.
Goodness me. Well, I'll tell you what, all I can say is, John, look, let's put it like this. We all watch Real World F1. I know you do, and I know I do. If you were watching this as a Real World F1 race, it would be brilliant, wouldn't it? I mean, okay, you've seen 11 drivers go out, but, you know, this F1 to me is 20 gladiators in the same arena, and this just goes to demonstrate that, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, definitely. This is just what you want to see. Old driver going full throttle, getting mad at themselves when they make a mistake, and that's where you can find the most DNFs. Overdriving the car because you're angry at yourself for making a mistake on the last lap, or just not getting the corner just right or not making the pass as you wanted.
Yeah.
That's just what you want to see.
But this is it. This is it. It's like, you know, last man standing. This is like,
yeah, definitely.
This is like Battle Royale and Fortnite all rolled into 2019 F1 Sim Racing esports. I mean, this is a fantastic challenge. You've got the 4 survivors. These men have survived the ordeal of Baku. You know, 15 drivers started, only 4 finished. I mean, this really is, you know, a fight to the death.
Yeah, for sure. You just cannot put it any other way. In the meantime, Dylan Platt is getting into the pits, maybe for a new nose change, and I think for a new record for making pit stops.
It's got to be 5 or 6, isn't it?
He's made his. Oh, he only made his fourth stop.
Fourth stop, but he's on a fresh set of soft tyres. So he's going to be going for that fastest lap, isn't he?
Yeah, he has to be.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be going for that fastest lap. So Dylan Platt comes into the pits, gets onto a nice, fresh set of soft tyres, and he's going to be looking for fastest lap. Only 2 laps remaining. And in the meantime, you know, I almost feel like putting on some ice cream van music. Do you have ice cream vans in Holland that play those sort of wonderful tunes to attract the children? Are you there, John, or have your batteries gone again?
Sorry, I'm no. You're putting a spell on me. Yeah, I'm still here. Sorry.
Yeah, I almost feel like playing, you know, some worthwhile music to see Ross Milburn into the finish of this, and he's coming into the pits.
Maybe some Beethoven or something.
I don't know. No, I don't think. I was thinking more along the lines of. Well, I think if we're going to restream the race or we're going to edit it in any way, I really think we should add the Benny Hill music.
Or Beverly Hills Cop.
Or Beverly Hills Cop, yeah. That is another alternative. That is very true. But Ross Milburn, in the meantime, comes into the pits, goes on to a nice, fresh set of soft tyres to finish the 2 remaining laps on this race. I've got to say, he has driven a brilliant race, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. He's done an amazing job, and he's done everything right. He drove around all mistakes from other guys. He drove around the wrecked cars, the start after the safety car. He managed as well, and yeah, he's doing everything right.
He really has. He's dominated this race from round about sort of what I think it was lap 20, 21 if I remember rightly.
Something like that, yeah.
So, you know, he's done very, very well indeed. He's stayed alive. So, great job from him.
I think that's the best way we can put it. He stayed alive.
Yeah, he stayed alive. Dylan Platt, another Baku Season 1 veteran. I think we can call them veterans now, can't we? They've survived the battle so far. So Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo survives, lives to fight another day. Josh Diggles as well. He's put in a great race. He really has for Haas, and very important points for the Haas team. He'll be getting that podium finish. Oh no, he won't! Oh no, he won't! And he's out! Oh my goodness me! What happened there? I have no idea, because that was on the straight coming down between 2 and 3. I have no idea what happened there.
I think he just immediately had a flat tire or something.
I think he had a puncture. I think he had a blowout.
Yeah, I should have.
He must have had a blowout. We're on board now. Oh, sorry, I've still got it on Josh Diggles. Sorry about that. We are now on board with Ross Milburn, who gets past the wreckage of Josh Diggles. Ross Milburn coming now through sector. Through sector 1.
Left.
Coming out of sector 1 now into sector 2. Ryan Lear there moving across green flags. He's into sector 2 now. his final sector 2 of this race, and I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. This is going to go down, I think, in F1 Tonight history. What an amazing, amazing race. And yeah, survivors. They are survivors, these guys.
Yeah. Sure,
definitely survivors.
Only Alfa Romeo with his with 2 cars, one Toro Rosso. Yeah, this will go down in history as one of the most exciting races of all time.
Yeah, I think it could well be. I think it could well be. So we're riding on board with Ross Milburn, and he will shortly be crossing the line to take the win here for Season 1, Race 4, Azerbaijan Grand Prix for F1 Tonight UK. The winner, Ross Milburn. What a fantastic, fantastic race from him. He has finished in that P1 position. Dylan Platt for Alfa Romeo will finish second. And Ryan Leah for Alfa Romeo will finish third.
And that's it.
And that is it, indeed. Well, I mean, but look at the points. Look at the points that Alfa Romeo are going to take away with them tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
They have a big advantage now.
Absolutely phenomenal. And Ross Milburn takes the win here in Baku for the Azerbaijan F1 Tonight Grand Prix. And I think we've basically agreed. I think he's got driver of the day as well, hasn't he, John?
Yeah, definitely. There's no way. There's no way around it. He's done amazingly well.
And the 2 drivers there, Dylan Platt coming second, Ryan Leah coming third for Alfa Romeo. They sweep up the remaining points, and what a fantastic, fantastic race. Absolutely phenomenal. 3 drivers, yes, you heard it right, finish this race where 15 began. And these men will go down in history as the veterans of Season 1 Baku.
Definitely.
What an amazing, amazing race. Well, just
also, Dylan Platt taking the point for the fastest lap.
Yeah, Dylan does take that extra
place.
point. Yeah, Dylan Platt takes the fastest lap with a 1:39.019. Takes away that extra point for himself and for Alfa Romeo. John, well, this Thursday we are going to be with F1 Tonight Netherlands. And we are going to be in Catalonia, at the Circuit de Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. And we're very much looking forward to that, I think, aren't we, John?
Yeah, me for sure. Yeah, especially when I'm driving there for myself. Yeah, I'm really excited to be there and hoping for a good result and hoping finally to get that podium as long as I wanted to have it for this season. Indeed, it's going to be still close very much in the F1 Tonight NL season, race 5. So join us this Thursday, 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time, and next Tuesday, 7:30 UK time, 8:30 Central European time, we will be at race 5 in Catalonia for F1 Tonight UK. We hope you've enjoyed the race. We hope you've enjoyed the drama of this Baku race this evening, and we've certainly enjoyed it. I've had a great time. Thank you for joining me in the commentary box, John, and good luck for Thursday. And I'll say good night from myself. Yeah, and good night from me too. Good night, everybody. Take care.